وتغفر لنا بها جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا بها من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك على درجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغايات من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات بحرمة الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, this is the 2025 Outreach Forum committed under your leadership to reach out to the electorates, those who elect members of the National Assembly to represent them, because you felt that as representatives of the people, you have to always be with the people to understand how they think, to understand what they wish, and to understand what their thoughts are in the legislative process. And this is why you have chosen Basse, because in your own words, every sector, every corner, every territory in this country is equally important. But oftentimes when issues come up, people look for the areas closer, and you felt the need to ensure that we come to the last region of the country to set an example to all those in the service of the people, that as long as they serve, they must reach to the people no matter where they are in this country.
Adding URR code, Nalbe Konton, o Sirambatio ya Fanyamin Jibairo, Atele Marta, Deputy Bungola, Tanyomo la Carola. Kontondro Kola, Akona Alphaba, mi yenna député be ñaton ka ñim banku ka mim honorable Fabakary Tombon Diatate aliya tele jete na futio ko mobe ya lonne len wota tulan jamo jati mabe jammi munna tundo la regional governor Sambaba atele mol diaja yo do fanam ba dala mimo Basse banko famola député ote carte famille imo honorable ka fayne ba hum serero yo yinem gambia te ndama ndekele yo jubayro kam min fonu kumala sudi affaire do ngada nin kay ko katu jam tundo sara kulol siata jang mandi kolbi da adu bari député la najang e molle tamu atu molle ke député alata kola ta kumata Allah hakoni nyando minti kumo be fola se faham ak ndeman sarakule kawmoy mbam fulole te bare mom fula kaw fanam moy bare be nata foko hani bi mandika kawo sa fono ak ngaji ki fula be jang ak mandika kaw faham sarakulol fanam mo te jam mom mandika kaw ko de ko puron sa faham bo nyamara manke doya kuti wala jutune ko pour mbela faham ko de sonta wala simila ko abe wokola député bumo famola e ka mine ko Clark Ba ni kumu ni do kubla dolle la karo mun sa foy ko permanent secretary bari to non permanent secretary so do ye Clark ko le so do le Khalifa Ababakar Mbaye wala mo nafa koy tiot ate manke mote ka e fay miye ate manke politicien ate mo civil servant mo sa kunda do kubla sa fahawo ñaan carte ñaami ñolole lolu je carte fay mini wonu protocole bité mo do ko lawo je wonu man sa kunda la do ko to lolu bo bele pour mo ñin sa ko ay honorable speaker a je ko waji bolen pour mol min ya lon ko nan kamo dila pour ya signer na bankola banta ba to mi mu député te wati ni wati ka finti mo kan ni mo ka kacha ni ko mo se konti bo e fana kabal ke boyle ka do dula lu kontibo amanke ko ke no ma kula barke la do kole dama nyim ko no di sabo nyim ko albe la do ko do la be lo la wata kumatale atafana la dimaya be futa molma yalu je yalu kontibo ato aka kontanta bate speaker la mira roninto aje ko Basse banko ni amante ko atele tundu labawote hani bari atele jam fata tendala wala tuba kunda ko ta kumata e bonam wutinan ka bol banjul kana fo jang dula min jam fata bete wosake taman serote ka yita ko banko boko manke tundu kilin dam matati asa keno dawana banko kan ako speaker la won mira ni mani kan ya tentu wala ka je wala pour ka député nati alni ye nyode yanje la doko minti e do fayel alfana ye ninka ela taman jana ngamera jibayru ni manyana kuma la sutia fe wala.
Yes, thank you. The Honorable Speaker has also asked that I inform you that he did not come here alone. He is here with the entire 58 members of the National Assembly.
Ako speaker nga ko fale ko adamate adamamanna bare Gambia banko be kunna kun député tan lulu seyo won be bi jane tan lulu saba carte ka fay wala lulu je président won fon la ka wol tombon ke kije ka fay ko nominated ako won be bi jane.
He has also emphasized that participants this proceeding will be in the local languages. So participants are free to speak any language that they understand.
Ako ay amaro min di wala min di ko ñim dango be min na jang ase ken na banko kanwuti katu jama ñim nasaran kan tuba ko way torale dawala ni fo don ko angale kanwale fo adu angale te ñam bunje ngadiamu na bolle woto ako mo ni lafta diamu la kanwo kanto yemi no se fam se kuma min fo no fo e sa fo banko la kanwo.
Now what we will do is to invite the clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Khalifa Mbaye, to explain the mission and why the Honorable Speaker and his members of the National Assembly are in your midst today.
Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, Honorable members of the National Assembly here present, Honorable Regional Governor of Yuara, our distinguished host, Honorable Sehuba, of course the Alcalo of Basse, Honorable Seluba, is a veteran honorable member, members of the press, distinguished guests and participants, the locality of Yuara, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and pleasure that I welcome you all to Basse, and of course to this 2025 National Assembly Outreach Forum for members of the National Assembly, and of course with the local community of Yuara, being held under the theme bringing Parliament closer to the people, involving of course citizens in the legislative process. This occasion marks a historic moment in the life of our Parliament, as it represents the revival of the Regional Outreach Initiative of the National Assembly, which was on record last time conducted during the 4th legislature. So this is a pride. The revival process since 2020, the 4th legislature happens in Basse. This is the first time we revive it. So it never happened in the 5th legislature, and it's happening now in Basse after many years. Its rituals today is both timely and symbolic, as it demonstrates Parliament's renewed commitment to bridging the gap between the institution and the people itself. Honorable Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the National Assembly as the embodiment of the people's will must remain accessible, responsive and accountable. The outreach program is therefore designed to strengthen that connection, to ensure that citizens, regardless of where they live, as the moderator just rightly said, have the opportunity to interact directly with their elected representatives, which is the members of Parliament, to understand how they work, their parliamentary work, and of course contribute meaningfully to the legislative and oversight processes of Parliament. The chosen team therefore could not be more fitting. A Parliament that listens to the people is one that legislates with relevance and impact. By involving citizens in the legislative process, the National Assembly therefore is not only promotes inclusivity, and of course transparency as well in this process. As Clerk of the National Assembly, I am particularly proud of this initiative and the collaborative efforts that have been made possible, especially the Honorable Governor and the Alcalde of Basse, for their tremendous collaboration to making this day a success. I wish to comment as well the leadership of the Honorable Speaker and of course the entire members of the National Assembly here present for their foresight and unwavering commitment to strengthening parliamentary outreach and public engagement. Equally, I wish to acknowledge the support of our partners, as the regional authorities, as I mentioned earlier, the civil society, and of course the people of the Upper River region, whose cooperation and participation remain central to the success of this program. As we embark on this important engagement, I encourage open dialogue, mutual respect, and active participation from all participants and of course ourselves. Let this forum serve as a bridge, connecting the voices of the people with the actions of their parliament. On behalf of my office, Office of the Clerk, and the National Assembly Service, I once again extend a warm welcome to all participants and wish us a fruitful deliberation over the coming days. Thank you very much.
Ako tumomina asewota kamobe gia basejan kanama be député la nyimban ako benne mi atare ko beti atabaki awarata akumata kato député bum nani jamon nun nin hakilo baka wo samola mbele be nun regional education office jana ngani nyom ben sifa ke woleto wo député bum nani jamon la tamane bundale afamata to honorable speaker nata fo ñunu lem député bu wora jamo ñintin safu ni ko mu groupe wora jamo ni nata wala tuba bi taw de ga fay ko 6 legislative body nale la moto jibe yake nale di L drum 6L wala wora jamo ñinti pour faham roda bayde na molle so ni ngela moto je ngalon ko honorable sorago la moto hay na do lin ko la moto ko di yo abe wala nyama so ako mata bake kamala ni murni na molkan wo bantaba min député ka ken ini fi molo yana to kilinto kamiro kuta kuta yandi ka jibe député molo ani député fo wala mo lankene moji ani fan ko na ke la fan ay senya ay kontibo anyama ko sama kama abo ko ti yalo ko ay député fo sula ak fan ay wol fan sula ni wala tena ni kuma kama ni Basse pour ya kachala wala ni ko pour mobe da kafundi kamobe ikala mobe xamé ki ngani ya kili wala inclusivity anu faran ka je ko se pour sénégalais ya nakene ka de tentro la regional governor wa baake anu faran alcalde ni Basse anu tundo alfalo anu civil society ka fo ni no ni fay ye burudu ñoma min ke pour ka je ko ni goni asetimano bako Basse jani abe kala banda ba ko kacalati mo moy ko ni sura ila mo re minti ye pour fahamne ye ko ni ya lankelema kayra anin bunya ni korobo ko non dama luten akbarak.
The next speaker I will call wears 2 caps. He is the one that led the Honorable Speaker and the 6th Legislature to Basse URR. And I want to assume he also led the delegation of URR to this dialogue. He is no other person than your very own Honorable Sekou Bah.
I have to thank the Office of the Clerk and the Office of the Speaker for giving me the opportunity to give a statement in this activity. Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, honorable members of the National Assembly, the clerk and the deputy clerk of the National Assembly, the distinguished director of Research Table Office and other staff of the National Assembly present here, the Honorable Regional Governor, community leaders, chiefs, alcaldes, and elders of URR, fellow citizens of Basse and the Upper River region, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense pride and deep appreciation that I seize this privilege to deliver the opening remarks of this 3-day engagement. This gathering will truly bring Parliament close to the people. During these 3 days, we will share ideas, exchange experience, and deepening our understanding of how citizens can play a more active role in shaping the laws and policies that govern our beloved nation. This discussion will affirm one important truth, that is, democracy flourishes when citizens are well informed, engaged, and empowered to participate in the legislative process. This initiative by the National Assembly of the Gambia is truly testament to our collective commitment, transparency, accountability, inclusiveness by bringing Parliament to Basse. You have ensured that the voice from the farthest corners of our country are not only heard, but also respected and reflected in the national decision-making process. I wish to sincerely commend the Speaker of the National Assembly, the clerk, the entire organizing team for their foresight and dedication for bringing up this important initiative. To our regional governor, community leaders, chiefs, alcalos, and the people of Basse, I extend heartfelt gratitude for the coming day's participation and warm hospitality. We will leave here with renewed energy and a shared sense of purpose to continue building bridges between Parliament and the people. The success of our democracy depends on continuous dialogue, mutual respect, and the unwavering belief that governance is a shared responsibility. As your representative, I remain committed to bring your voice in the National Assembly, to listen, to engage, and to ensure that aspirations of the people of Basse and the entire Upper region are reflected in the laws we pass and the policies we implement. I will equally promise to keep your voices live in the National Assembly. I will continue to listen, to represent you with honesty and humility, and to make sure Basse and the entire Upper region are never left behind. Together, let us continue to strengthen our democracy, uphold the values of good governance, and build a Gambia where every citizen feels, sees, heard, and valued. Thank you all. May God bless everyone.
Okay, aka kumo min fo bayda tan jatete yo nde kuma killing senale do bare kumo koleata ko non 6 legislative na le la moto di albaje la ko député la number plate National Assembly member number carry 6L wala mo to woro njawni kumo ni man ko do ko ninko député carry la moto mo dol formule la dole la moto di la hani il formule la moto mo to le tamo e la moto le mo yalon ko e la joto wonde yo ay keta to le tamo are wo min ke je ka itandi ko to le bi jamano le ton député timinu bi pour ka o seni andi bi amo nyin ko do yamay yo sila ngay mo be tentu ay sako clerk ni honorable speaker la officer de maromi yalon ko be lori ka je ko itolu député lu ani député bol ila do ko nyin ya timandi ya ke anyama ako nyin batta ba be on nata wa to bi yalon ko ay député lu kafundi nyala mi yalon ko ayri banku be haji ko bebe wole bo ke ka nyin tembenna wota ko malata mo be se tarasiri nyoka na nyoge bu ñani hormo ko lo pour fahamundro ñu se lafa pour ñi kamala woku mi be kaccala jani ñewul ane bi abe barakale la fala bela lo ñani to banko ñi jani ako démocratie de niya jabe putute la pour ay tama a ñama aka ke ko ni ka wala mu hormoti ani buña momo ila ñanto ila miro minti ya de ya faham ñami ya la wo ñama buñani hormo kan démocratie lo ko jokono le kan bara manke ku kotenti mi ya ron ko wala be wo ko ako hani bi atende mi mo député ado nate dia muta ñu député do le ibe lore ne katika je ko ile dipite ya do ko ye sasimina ibe lora wala le ka tamandi ka ke anyama tonko de tabla min do se tara mole bata baba jubaye.
Our very able, competent host, who has demonstrated and moved, equally become one of a kind that we will continue to remember no matter which region the Honorable Speaker and the House are. So it gives me great pleasure to now invite the Governor of URR, Honorable Sekou Sampapa.
Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Fabakary Tombong, the Clerk of the National Assembly and the Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly and staffs of the National Assembly, Majority Leader and Minority Leader of the National Assembly, our National Assembly host, that is Honorable Sekuba, who is also here on the high table, honorable members of the National Assembly, chiefs, vulnerable chiefs who are also here with us, lady councillors, elders of URR, youth of URR, students of URR, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense pride and gratitude that I welcome you all to this historic outreach tour by the National Assembly. Today it is not just a visit, it is a bridge between the people and their representatives, a bridge between policy and lived experience, a bridge between promise and progress. The outreach is a bold step towards participatory democracy, where governance is not confined in the Greater Banjul area, but brought to the doorstep of every Gambian. When the National Assembly comes to Upper River region, it sends a message that every region matters, every voice counts, and every citizen belongs. This is the spirit of the New Gambia, one of inclusion, equity, and shared dignity. Over the past months and years, we have witnessed meaningful progress in our communities, whether through improved infrastructure, access to education, healthcare services, economic opportunities, or to name a few. These developments are not just statistics. They are stories of lives changed, hope renewed, and futures made brighter. We are so thankful to our National Assembly. We are so thankful that our National Assembly are aware of the need, and through the government, they continue to make a possibility for the people of Upper River region and across the country. For the participants, this marks a powerful step towards civil awareness and national engagement. Witnessing the heart of our democracy in action is not just educational, but it is inspirational. Therefore, this is not to be a one of its kind, but the beginning of a tradition, where people and their parliament work hand in hand towards a brighter future. I cannot conclude without extensively thanking the clerk and the deputy clerk and staff for the coordination that we've been doing together in making sure that this dream is achieved. And in addition, I want to thank the National Assembly member, through the majority leader who is from Upper River region, the work that the members of the National Assembly of Upper River region are doing. What you are doing here is something that has been done in Upper River region for several times. Most of the time, when there is a tact engagement with the communities, the National Assembly members of URR are invited to attend. That shows the cooperation and the understanding that we are doing as far as the people of URR is concerned. To the participants, I urge you and I appeal, let's try to make sure we make these 3 days very, very important. Let's participate effectively, let's participate efficiently, and let us always respect time. Because here, this occasion is a rare occasion. It is very difficult to get. If the National Assembly should leave all the way from Banjul to come over to Upper River region, this is an opportunity that we have. We have to understand that they have many functions, but among them, legislation, oversight, and budget. And this is something that you can ask, but when we are participating, let us do it with respect and understand that these are the members that represent us at the highest body of the decision-making body. And as a result, if they should stoop down to come and see you as electorates, it is also very, very key that we also reciprocate positively. And on that note, I thank the Speaker so very much for the work that he has been doing and he will continue to do as far as the National Assembly is concerned. Honorable Speaker, URR is more than willing, welcoming the National Assembly members of this country anytime needed. We once again thank you and thank you so very much.
ay moɓe ijal itto ni konto ani de makama o makama minto gouverneur ye konto ako ñimbemo manque anke bemoti don wole na don ye si nga ñoji be hani bare ako sirole mi yalon ko abe kene bale sukila ntol molu tema carte faylalu tema ani la tombo molu député bumo ñinto ato ni amoy démocratie ka ko tubabu ko ngi gamna parti démocratie wala démocratie ni yalo o bele da bi je imam motuje mo be kaw mo be la miro e kumata akono je ako ka to nyumu kula se yalo ko na miro na kuma kamolu na je na wo be mo e dum min soto ako ni ko démocratie ni ko akuma ado nyumu kula se yalo ko mbere nyabe irwa ko do la min keta ndala karola na londo bunda anina fango kunya mimbe manke buti yalo go buso yarinen bari be la budu ga anyi ko ke jayi karna ya jibe irwa wodu wa bekela ka bo man sakura na karola janni aka ke fa na fure ban asutura nyaade da fo yen sole ban itolle be sonna ni man son wol ta keno wala tina ako gogono la kumo nyin kono ako ila la kuma ta ke teto la ke jayi ako molla tarola jan pour ye daado nyin ko nyin ta man ke nyin do ko kanale ka mul karandi karandati jam wala dati de min karandi la minna bari fahamulul lem insa long lorula momo ni lorula mo min te kam be kumtina la bango kan na niyo le soto je won niyo fana na lorula le soto je be nyanta kanda la nyame ni ya lon ko fatam fasi de tarale ako wati kolen wati deteri ba nyin dibitel be wala ko nata en tembenna nalika rajulu kibaro dum noma be ku jamaale ko nato sako be sankuto bi wali kande ka foko bojet wala banko na fulo laanya ika be safere ministre buka atamini no president buka tambani no akana itole ya ni momo nyete dioni soto na fulo ni ko ma adu bi intervenir be wol kono pour ko to ni ya no be no ma sada lo te kan mbela la nafa ko muminti woto ibe deteri bakere are governo ko ma tede lo deto be yo be landi ka tamana fu ka bona fo banjun ani be dikirani do kana mol wali jang ko mu kuma bare to woto alto mol minu na ta jang al seke moti min fana ngalon ko wo bunya seyo nga fahami fe alu ngandalu akachani ko bunyani ho yalon ko na nyitiri sabol min ni député be tarra fe jam be wala kala ka to nyimu e mentality bi yalon asoto man bi akoliata ba bali amoy komando na famata jang sagi jamala amanke do sai fe ya kutakutani bari ya kutakutani la do wala kumo ka min sebendia ni bunda kuto bi yalon ko ya yelete ngamuna fana isa de na hajo ni to lutema bay do le besirinya banko bata banyi do nsa ajibeno nse munafa ala nyaadi le mbese na fa so doje atakela ko don député lam ke jodi wala do hinga manga nyo jodi bare ani mobe kulungula la be ngani yakili akula ni ko mobe futa atenda to kayra ko gogono la kuno na atata na ko mo tan ni fulo be mu nyine tunu akal be tu ko de ke kaltay adu fana sako mo minu na ta mabe speaker ani fana clark ani mo ko to be da
Sanjad
to the people of URR, because he is also no stranger to the service of the people of the Gambia. I'm sure the Honorable Alikalo will have some interesting testimonies to that effect. It is my pleasure to invite the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, to officially declare this 3-day dialogue opened.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين. Our host, the Governor of Upper River Region, Honorable Sambaba, the majority and minority leaders of Parliament, Honorable Bileji Punkara, Member for Kantora, and the Honorable Alhaji Dabo, Member for Peshawar North, Honorable Members of the National Assembly here in present, of course identifying our host, Member for Basse, Honorable Sekou Ba. The Chief of Basse and all chiefs here in present, the Alikali of Basse, my own brother, veteran politician, Honorable Momadou Selouba, and all Alikalis here in present, distinguished religious leaders and community leaders, youth leaders, women groups, representatives, and all citizens of Basse and the Upper River Region, clerk and staff of the National Assembly, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It is with immense pride and a deep sense of democratic purpose that the National Assembly gathers here today, not within the walls of our chamber in Banjul, but on the vibrant historical soil of Basse. This visit is more than a simple formality. It is a profound declaration of our commitment to the very principle upon which our democracy stands, that sovereignty belongs to the people. It marks a significant moment in our continued commitment to deepening democratic governance, promoting inclusivity, and strengthening the ties between the people and their elected representatives. The theme of this forum, bringing Parliament closer to the people, involving citizens in the legislative process, is a driving force behind this unprecedented outreach. For too long, the work of the National Assembly has been viewed as something distant, obscured by formalities of the chamber. We are here today to dismantle that perception. The National Assembly is not a distant institution. It is not confined to the walls of Banjul. It is yours. It belongs to every citizen, urban and rural, young and old, regardless of social or economic status. Through outreach forums such as this, we seek to ensure that no citizen feels disconnected from the decisions that shape our national destiny. Over the course of this week, our focus will be on dialogue, engagement, and mutual learning. We are here not only to share what Parliament does, but also to listen to you, the people we serve. Your insights, concerns, and suggestions are invaluable in guiding our legislative agenda and enhancing our oversight and representative roles. We are here to affirm that the National Assembly is not merely a majestic building. It is a working reflection of your aspirations, your needs, and your collective will. The laws we pass affect your daily life, from the schools your children attend, to the healthcare you receive, to the infrastructure that drives the economy of URR. This is why we have the conviction that you, the people, who elected us represent you, should have a direct input in shaping our country. Suffice it to say, the legislative process is not solely the domain of your elected representatives. True democracy requires a partnership where the people are active participants, not just passive observers. This code, and others like it, that we will continuously be conducting across the country, are designed to institutionalize that partnership. We know that a strong democracy is not measured by the strength of its government, but by the strength of its citizens. Our commitment today is clear. The National Assembly is committed to transparency, accountability, and accessibility. We will continue to explore mechanisms, including utilizing technology, to ensure that distance is never a barrier to participation. But this partnership requires effort from both sides. We have come to your doorstep now. We urge you to walk through the door we have opened. Speak up, submit your ideas, scrutinize our actions, and participate actively in the discussion process. I am with the firm conviction that by working together, we can bring the National Assembly closer to the people and the people closer to the National Assembly. It is through that we can craft laws that are just, relevant, and truly reflective of the collective needs of our entire nation. Let me assure you that this outreach is not a one-time event. It is part of an ongoing effort to create a more open, transparent, and participatory parliament. We aim to institutionalize mechanisms that facilitate sustained public engagement, civic education, and feedback. To conclude, allow me at this juncture to take this opportunity to profoundly thank the people of the Upper River region for your warm hospitality and for your enduring commitment to democratic governance. I also commend the honorable members of the National Assembly, clerk and staff, and all partners who have made this outreach possible. Together, let us continue to build a parliament that is truly by the people, for the people, and with the people. With these few remarks, I have the singular honor and pleasure to declare this outreach forum of the National Assembly open. Thank you. May God bless the Upper River region, and may God continue to bless our democracy and our country. I thank you.
Badingolu, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, aka kumo min fo wolem nyinti ko bengo nyim fo mandati anatale ka bengo nyin dayele tumo minna ay alfal be kontong minu be siring afe tabulo to jang iri governor bala dipiteo lako aning dipitelo aning alkalolu banko sefo aning alfa dina nyaton kolo musukunda ke kunda momo be jang makama o makama ani nata minna jang musukafu kela speaker ko ayal be kontong nyimbe ngoto mi yalon ko be wala ke kanjam Basse ako atede ase wota baake anim fanan a wasuta fanan kaje ko demokrasi be lorin tunkol mi kan na député bungo nyinto bi ay mbendi Basse sate o nyinto adun amanke nyinti don ko député la do ko be sirim banjunu député bumba damale to jele muy la do ko dulati aman woti bara nyinne yitati ko député la do ko tambitale don kasi banjun député bungo nyinto bari ibe banko ton nano bele to adon walatina atare ko warata Basse jam baaki ako na bi bengo jang amanke dankuye bengoti drong bari kule mi yalon ko ay nganiyole yitandi mfongol la tawola anina hakil kuwol min yalon ko lafita wala kaje ko na demokrasi lo ay bambang asim fulola wala nyinti ko banko la fantarambulo ala foroya be banko mol fongole bulu mi yalon ko motante wote namanke ntol banko dingote aka kumata bakele kaje ko wo hamoni nganiyo nyin ase tenten ka tambini ni demokrasi la anin maral nya kendola anin kaje ko koku nimbembe kala banku dingol bese niyo soto je mobe dase kafuje ase bambandiro ke temola ndamalu tema ani mol min yalon ko ndolle nga carte faye pour signer na député bon nyinto ako kacha ku minti wala minti ko ka député lu katandi molto walla ke sambana molya ye katambolla ye molje molyeje anin fanan ka banku dingol be kaf dabulandi ila député bungo ka tamani silo min ako nyinne mo tunku ngoti mi yal ko nyimbe go nyinna kuma ya nyin ay wole lankene ma bi aka meta baake député bungo wala député la do jama nka jele ko don na député lu be sirigne janale nka fo min be sirigne banjunne katara kemba nyinto dron wo ben bumba nyinto do ye sije dron ibe bengola aka manke o dama nyinti wala tinna bi honorable speaker ko nata jang ka wo mirole bondi mol hakiloto ka foko député la do ko don amantara ko be sirim banjunne dron e ka kol fo la lual nyanta kela tenne ye so roke nyi nyanta kela te nyinya bari amanke ko be sila jelo bari abena ibe moleti mi ko la do kol futatale mo bebe dawda banta bawo banta bato mi yalon ko banko nyin kanja woto député bumu manke ku bunti wala dulati min jam fata tol molla speaker la kumo ka wala yitandi aka manke dabe banjunne ako ntolle tamo kato député bumu nyin lota banko dingolle adu minu fana sita nyeje minu mu député de ala ta ko la ntolle nge sindije woto ntolle tamo amanke ko fo ibe capital to bang wala ibe santol to bang wala fondinke wala imu kebalete bang wala ibe makama minto amanna wala ako nyimben sifalu ka finti molkan aba tinala le banku dingol ye fanje baake kay le fahamudore wara ko nimunna molleti minu be sidinye je bari mbele be nyokono mi yalon ko nte kuntula ntemo te kuntula ka dol ka fole ko député ka tara min do mbuka long bari sida nalbe be banta baakile muna be fahamta kato be kata banku do koldo ako tonyala ñin doku ñin kono ka chabe kala minti wala minti ko nsa ko yitandi ñoma fahamndiro seke amanke ko be ku kutale na ku le moyla bari fahamdu le kala abe kala ñinti ko min yanko député lu ila do ko ka tama ñami albe wol fam le bolde isaje alma min lon fanan woseke kuti mi yalon ko aliya faham ila lodulañ bare ntol mol fanan nata jang nkana kel danko lamoy lati drong ntata ngal lamoy le dom bare be ngoni ngi mune fo aka manke wote ko honorable speaker na badi jara gol ka ke nyami ike lamoy le drong abuka dum aka na ke wote bare nseke lamoy lati ye lamoy bare tol fanan sel lamoy ko to min yalon ko nga wolle kalamuta ila do ko kataba nyami bayri itolle be siri mole ako hanibi abe bambandiro kala député lo anen député bungola lo nyala abanke nyinti don ko ebe kule nati kam mole be lafiri minna ka di molla hani wodda matem pour na sulo mo minzi ba antol fongon tol fon molla hamen ko ni na mirol ko fana wol fana kafuta jele kana fa ko do député nyanta be kala nyanta nati nyele ma nati ni ban dol fana ngan niyo soto jelon ako luwal min yalon ko ka wol ka député bu nyinto ka ke luwal ti min yalon ko wala bentol banko dingol be sansanna adon wol luwalu akan na balo male ka ni luwal lota fa bante dol sontala bitu wala be kala do koti mimben kantala luwala karola adon ni nga jibe fanan na karam bundalu londo bunda karabolo to diningol kata damin arabo bunda min kata lo ta nyinto anin loru fengol ci lolu bugolu anin fanan ñon sifal l'hôpital non minu lote ka min ko infrastructure amu kuleti mi yalon ko abe URR jang ala economy banko fanko mimbe jang ay wo bambandile a barakandile bari wolbe nata no nyaadile asoto nyaadile walatina alatina ko altol molu min yalon ko altol le tolu tombon ka ke député to al nyanta niyo fanan soto la jele wo kolbe mi ka nyami akoka kumo nyim fanan seniyani ni ajam ba jam fandila laftale pour alfa nyina kumo mbe sa faham kaje ko ila loi wala ila député katama nyamin kaminu ke ila député boto ila do ko la karola amanke nyinti ko dronko ye minu tombon abe wolda male kunna tola hani hakel kilinte hakelti itol ni tada je ka tara mobeleje bari jam mo jelle fananka hakilo miralo di député la ko nibita député wo yejil la faje kadu itemu mo kilinda malete mo wuli jama kono ye tombondami walla ye tadami woto bomola miro kumata itoltale bari bitana nyedulato pour ka je ko nganda donje ako nyolatina nyimbe mo nyin ani ben kotolu abe tentennale ate danna nyinda mala bar ni ala sonta tundu kotewol to fanna kotewol to nyimben sifalbe fanundi la jele isaje mobe niyoje nyin ko nyinto katu ngalo ne ko démocratie la bom e buka asuman e man sakunda be lori nyami man sakunda la sembo buka démocratie suma wala bare aka suma minna wala mun tol mol fo min yalon ko wala mu banko dingol nyinti adum bi na dula jang way nyine ngan yo yitande ko député ni député bungo ibe lori ne kaje ko koku be kala banko kan ay lankenema fenkana to moye kumpoto anim fanan koku fanan be kala banko la haji goto ak konti boñi ase faramansa ase senea anim fanan kaje ko mol fanan se muna fannoje nyami akana ke fan mate ase ke kuti mi yalon ko mobele ba sotula ako woton be tentenale ka nyinyom tamandir bundani ka fanundi kaje ko londolu ani mirol minu sotodaji affairolu nga wol natino nyin ka isaje député do ko ani dalo dula en carte faylalo wala le banko mol tema kenete tarla mi yalon ko abe kala kuti mimbe kala jamfa ko nyinte minna wala mo denno nyo mayate wala nyinte ko nga bulodi nyola ni wo keta dron isaje karafulol be mbe sulala minna mbe o soto nolal kato ako sai natale foka futa mol fongoto mol banta balto sai ka min dani wala nyinte ko mbe nga tama o banta ba nyinto nga tama je tek fo nga dum lafta dunna damin na yirwa nyinto momo be jang ila jernya ila miro ila hamo ila nganyo ila deunda mimbe dending ila doko ako ya yitandi kato ni wo kita dro amulunta ko kuran kono ni wo futno yalo bantale kuran kotenti je foni kuran donata bare wo batar la mimbe bulu bi yo fono le akuno mo nyimbota aka wole fote pour seji be nse nyininka ntol fana nga miralo dil isaje nga kolu sabano laftala nyame ako kala kumo kumfa ali so nyin watinna nga nyin mantabe ngota ka molu minube river region mimbe nyimbase tundo nyinto pour ale benduni nyinya nyima minken aninka mol jiajang fanan alla ni la lola kaje ko démocratie mararoni man karola wo setenteng akabe molu tentula sako député bungalu anin do kulal minu be député bungo nyinto suta tili ibe loring kaje ko ibe fatiaring ila do kake anyama kaje fanan ko député lu anin député minu be do ko laje isutiata motla ako ko temi wallahi la ko ñiñom ben sifa ta kala wati kilin kuti dron barabe kala kulati mi yalon ko ni ala sonta mba tentani la ka falondi mole pour mobe se dadunno député lo ñañinto fahamuro sake ini molu tema anim fanan ka ajo ko abundani asetama ka ke nyami ay minyinin ka wala mbe nga den bulula mbe nga den hame kilina ngani ya kilina isajen se wolti kaje ko na député lo anin député bungo sake molla bunda temi yalon ko tonya ebe loring molla kangolela ani molla yamarola ako nyin kuma in aya foten ntentu sentuta bake kalu jayi yele ngalo tentu ka doale allahumma sabati yalon ko wolen si operiva riyon jang asetenten kan tanka kan kandadi ani kan demokrasi minam alfa bala kumoti nungay minfo ala baraka bake.
This is where we will be drawing the curtain for the opening of this dialogue between the electorates and the National Assembly. But before we do that, we will seek leave of the Honorable Speaker to have a family photo. Immediately, we will allow the Honorable Speaker and members of the High Table to be accompanied by the majority and minority leaders of the National Assembly to exit the hall to the photo stand, and we will all join them for a family photo.
So we can do that down as quick as possible.
Yes. So you will turn on the mic when you finish.
Deputy Basse constituency. Pagiano, there are central deputy.
Assalamu alaikum. Wali Jama Modu, Demu Honorable Swaibu Ture, Willie is the deputy.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Mi do salmina jama fof mi woni Honorable Salihou Diawo député mo Jokadu on jarama.
Assalamu alaikum. Maa ngi leen a nuyu yéen ñëpp si seen tur ak seen sant. Man la Honorable Modou Lamine Ba jógee Banjul non constituency.
Assalamu alaikum. Abdullah Njare, Banjul Central Constituency.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Misalini tu Kolin Musa Badi député Mao Talenin constituency.
Assalamu alaikum. Jawalon Alimara, Kobe Honorable Famara Savali, Wuli West.
Assalamu alaikum. Mbalbe Kotrona, and Honorable Sampun Damfa, a member for Biliasa constituency. Assalamu alaikum. Ndomo Alfuseni Sise Sanye constituency.
Ndomo Fandi Korandi, Tumana Gonda Deputy. Assalamu alaikum. You are on call Balbe Kontona Tonal Kontona. Ndomo Lagi Jesamati, Recover South Deputy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Honorable Ibrahim Ajayte, Sandu constituency.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Lieutenant Misrif Saad from Joshua constituency. Bye to the employer.
Assalamu alaikum. For me, Honorable Mandabo, member for Open constituency. Assalamu alaikum. Indekare son Honorable Keba Tumane Sabe, National Assembly member for the Jaro, Paribala de Jack John Basse, Indiana Sefai Basse, Diablo Basse, Dico Basse. Honorable Keba Tumane Sabe, Post Festival. Bake, Inteto Bakari Keba Dileti, Telefoni Bintan Karana la Deputy. And we will press the end of 2026. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. The Honorable Bakari Korati of Florida, Brabansan.
ila ko so wato wala ka baade ko ni yo ala ba ka baade nde time of waste bawo na introduction ko la already na faale to betuma la di am be seri tudol men doya nana ko jam bi akena ko ko ma balti waya tinna bi nali ya jube dipito na do kula men be national assembly be ma be jam pour nali dialogue so do kacha dipito la do ko ani ko men yalla ko agenda ko wala dipito ko ko so sign be kala be continuer la programme ni kono bi metimo de lo menti be ya tinna be siri jam bi pour kal kalam tandi dipito la ko Kenya la ñentana ko kacha la men taw kala le wala mu ko wala député clark député clark même de national assembly même marta député pour tamande nyala andin na fulo Kenya même buba emi jata bi akada be siri mo ba kala may ko dila tel la ployer kamtan bi muna ya tin be siri jam andin na men to rekela bi ti do le ko fo dal ni lo ni be ban inshallah thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Moderator, honorable members here present, our distinguished participants from the URR region. We want to thank you very much for coming here to attend this very important session. It is a profound privilege to be here in Basse URR for this critical and important engagement. My task this morning is to present to you the overview and purpose of this very important event. We are gathered here today under a powerful team, as highlighted in the morning, bringing Parliament closer to the people, involving citizens in the legislative process. As I said, my task is made easier because previous speakers have already highlighted the reason and purpose of our coming here today. But I just want to summarize it in 5 key areas. This forum brings together honorable members and citizens of URR, the members that you have voted in. The forum also will create awareness, as highlighted earlier on, and will also clarify the misconceptions on the role of National Assembly and National Assembly members. It will also foster open dialogue and deepen understanding of parliamentary processes and procedures. Lastly, it will strengthen the citizen participation that you in the parliamentary process of lawmaking, oversight, and accountability processes. The main objective of this forum, as highlighted on, this forum will educate and create awareness, as I said, and it will eliminate public confusion, misconceptions regarding how Parliament works and what your representatives do in Parliament. It will also demystify their roles. Later on, speakers will clarify and explain the fundamental functions of National Assembly, as I said, in lawmaking, oversight, and representations, and also the role of your representatives. You will also hear from them, our distinguished speakers, also provide you with comprehensive overview of the legislative process, how bills becomes law, the laws that govern you, how it is processed until it becomes law, and the budgetary process, how public funds are allocated and approved. It was mentioned in the morning that honorable members also allocate funds for the executive to undertake projects that will impact on your lives. Accountability and transparency. They will also explain to you the crucial roles of committees, particularly the Finance and Public Accounts Committee, in holding the executive accountable. It does so by overseeing the management of public funds, audit findings, and financial compliance. This showcases Parliament's crucial function in ensuring transparency and accountability in government spending. To also foster citizen engagement, as we are doing today, this forum will establish direct platform where it will dialogue with you, allow your National Assembly members to receive your feedbacks and your concerns and recommendations so that it will inform them in the policies and the laws that they will enact. It will also encourage your participation because we have learned that because so many people lack the knowledge about the work of Parliament, and that is why they cannot participate in the parliamentary processes. So this forum is an avenue that will explain to you how you can engage your parliaments through different mediums to be able to share your views and concerns on the laws that they are making. As I said, during these 3-day discussions, you will have discussions on critical topics like the functions of the National Assembly and the role of National Assembly members. There, they will explain to you the core functions of the National Assembly. They will also describe the responsibilities of NAMs. As I said, many of us still are confused on the role of our National Assembly members. They will also take you through on the stages of lawmaking from idea to enactment, initiation, consideration, debate, committee referrals, approval, and eventually assent. And in terms of budgetary processes, they will also highlight to you how they reviewed, approved, and monitor the budget implemented by the executive. These are done through various committees of the House. You will also hear a presentation on the role of committees. It will explain the functions of various committees in scrutinizing proposed laws, budgets, and also, as highlighted by the moderator in the morning, by the undertaking of special inquiries. You will also have a presentation by the chair of FPAC, giving you the parliamentary oversight of public funds, the role of FPAC. This will explain the committee oversees the management of public funds, audit findings, and how they ensure that government complies to their recommendations. Also, you will hear presentations from priority sector committees. Their chairs will present on like education, agriculture, and health, how their work help in shaping sector-specific oversights and legislations. You will also hear presentations on the powers and privilege of National Assembly members. This will clarify the legal immunities they have, the flexibilities and responsibilities to perform their duties effectively and independently. And also presentation on the Public Petition Committee. We also have this very important committee that is in the Assembly where citizens can lay their complaints and they will look into it, investigate it, and make their recommendations to the Assembly. And lastly, very important, and the last day we're going to have an open dialogue. This dialogue will be between the people of URR and your representatives. You voted them in and assigned them to do a job, and somebody said in the morning they should also be accountable to you. So this forum will allow you to ask whatever questions regarding their work in Parliament. And as I said, this format, the discussion and our engagement here will be in the form of presentations. You will have esteemed resource persons who will make presentations on the various topics that I've highlighted. And then after the presentations, the floor will be opened so that we interact, so that at the end of the day, we have a clear understanding on the workings of Parliament. At the end of this exercise, we expect that the awareness of the electors will be increased in terms of how Parliament functions and how laws are made, how they perform oversight over the executive, and so on and so on. Also, it is our belief that at the end of this exercise, trust will be built between electorates and your representatives. Because as I said earlier on, many a times, the role of National Assembly members are confused by many, including some of us. But at the end of this exercise, we will be able to know what is the role of your representatives, so that at the end of the day, you will be able to ask or give your opinion to your National Assembly members to represent your voice in the Parliament. In concluding, we want to encourage all participants to ask questions on the various topics that will be presented, especially during open dialogue, which I said earlier on, with your representatives. This is an opportunity to clear all doubts that you may have about your National Assembly members, and by doing so, enhance your understanding on the role and functions of the National Assembly. In this effect, we hope that Parliament will be closer to you, because understanding the work of Parliament means Parliament is closer to you. I thank you all for taking your time to be here, and we look forward to your active participation during these 3 days. I thank you all.
Alfabi mbota diamole wole mo uba yatati atomu wolete atele mo klako la normal kote fanna do la député mo wonto ako ala kumo to me nay mo be konto pour bayri wato tata sio kana mo batati ko diamola folo ya folo nyami be mo be yele la wato mina nyimbe mo nyi aba sutiande la don tunkum lulu to mimma dalilo nyinti wala nyinti ko ka député na député lu ke naati jang anim banku molu min ya lon ko wolle carte dila anim fanan ka fahamundiro bunda yele mole min ka carte fay député lu anim député lu tema sabanjango ka senyaniro ke faham baliya dol la min ya lon ko wolle be keri député la lo nyala wala ila do ko wala jang honorable buba jang kumata baake katu jama ndol carte fayla lo e ka moy na député kari amang silo natin tole amang kuramon natin tole amang lopitano natin wala amang salo natin tole ya jale wo dolu manke député o fon kun kilina la do ko nyinti pour ka ke tuma do na ba kela karado la mi yalon ko ni be kacala pour na furo min nyanta wo do bula e da se dum woto bar jama belem tol belem min ka carte fay ana député kare o carte fay ko da fayla e katu dula kare hayde mano sodo don mano mannan tole ya wonte député o e kan député to ko ya wala wontala do ko te misal se bar nyintini sabol ko no kacalbe wol be seniyande lal malam bubaka wala fonon tay ako fanan abatina lale nyomoyo ya jele mum nyomoyo katu kacale ka mafu ko to laron bonde kodi nan man nyomoy dron alman kacha hani suwo ko no dimbal nan man kacha dron filo ka korna wata be ngani e kili wala albebe ku kiline wala dina tubabol ka fay dalo fo nga kacha itol na tol se kacha itol fara ni tol se kacha ke nyinin ka ko la saje ya faham ni pour ila do ko député ko to ni tata je ila do ko mu monete c'est wol senandi mole lulu nyango fanan aba bambandi la len ton molu minu be banko kan e na dablo la wala makoyro la illa do ko min ikake ka luwa de da moli anim fanan kontibo banko la munafamol la anila soto femol la itol lebe lori wo kontibo kunyala ka minu marata la ise kili nyin naful kari nga min fonun ko adunta nyaadile aketa nyaadile mune dasata je mune man dasaje isa je fan dol sita fo ko fan suratan kodo nangamo dola ka la fay ko ila dalilo nati aka du baki ikatara dipinde bo fo wato je suba talan nani ibe banku ku hajodo bare jamal mo jelle o kala butan ko wala tan nyin e kaja sifa kumata e misal fe o bubala kumo nyin kono isaje isa fo banku kari anyanta billion nangamu dila Gambia la kan sola pour ngam famma koy ni nga o moy ka kontan bari itolle ba jibe la wo billion nangamu mbe dila banku dimol la mune ba kunna tola fo dalil bi jele ba misal fe banku kili sa fo ko se billion nangamu diyalla Basse banko be ali alla silo ke manote jumale be balanna wala yalla mote balanna wala bari mimba dila sa fo ko bari na dalil kile mu ñinete albe sonnala bari ke wude ya la banko kan albe o tamandila sabu ko he hali ntolu na mol nte wotala ñin yaje aka wala tina ila do ko kumata mol se wolo e sa fo don ko ye kodo ñingi man songala ka duniya je man songala ye minuba di kan sola ye tunkundole nati mi yalon ko aninna molla lafinna ko anin miral nyani na ado ni dino manta ye bangala wala ya fo ko fan ni nga ñindi yalla juman salote kala la banko ka na sonto sa dial jumale be sonna wala mote sonna yaje ila do ko dol leti anen ñoo bari kacha ñinti sabo be kono jannbe bola jang inshallah enin to dima bale be bola jang ako fanan ka bambandiro ke ñin bengo ñin na dalilo minti wala minti ko kaaje ko ka molu kalamutandi anin ka molu fahamde do ko la min yalon ko dipitelu la hamin ko mu wolati anin filol min yalon ko wolle ka ke ila lo dulala katu jama ki ala yalon ke to ko ya ku jamala teninte warta itolbe damin anin ndol kam mira faham baliyale wo sab bar ni fahamo keda wodolte kela anin fanan ibajala ko molu e dipitelu fanan masakunda bunda o masakunda hani mum makama nim place le be bulo bayri bankola na fulo nim bunda betolo kango na sembo loi ya dito la ka fo ko ite kare fulana ela nyin do ko nga kuma moy yele wala nga kuje na ya seni yande na mole ka to dolle be siri mole nten nalto ta keno la bari ga kamo min dito la to se wo keno la e se ko nyin do finde ani fanan kaje ko ila do ko le mi yalon ko wolle mo luwa kaytoti ka fo ne bills anim banko ni banku nim banku tema kambe won min ka soton tema itolle ko be fana jaba kese woto kaje ko ninga nyin kambe ngota faabe mol torala ba faate mol torala mun nafaale be nyeje mun nafaale te nyeje hani julomi ka dondo pour ngana kol dol tamal do be je sababu hani juloñi ningata ñanta jola wato minna na fulo min be dunna kuna abina lanjur dole natila ya jel barni juma mo jelle wo faam ndol carte faylal ko ani ka minne ko kontibo ani kole lankenama yo banko na fulo ka tama nyamin aboko donc panketi kumo nyim panketi kumo ya natila dimbal tema yalo ne atu ke kanan kilimbule la suwo ko na kilimbe panketo kundu pakala la ado ma kilim dol te fen sodola bari tolu ñim bankola nafulo panket kilimo min yalon ko bankola nafulo min yalon ko abajota na namol to ñeti tankol min ka jo min be laari central bank itolle ka fo okay police la bunda ila lodula ali nga ñin nangam di la londo bunda nga ñin ñeta di la l'hôpitalo nga trans di la wo sifali ya talantala bitum wona dita ka di la ya saba ibina la le konti bonat adunta damin ya dila watu ale mune do kuje alo mune do kuje misal fe be nyin holo min to jang nyimu agricultural project ole de kame go rus dr jang la project ole agriculture amanna jolon robo nyama kabira binala fo ya kambe itolle sonta iko ha rutsena ay dum farol kono ay dum gadi noto ye masimalu di ye pawatira di nyindi konti bo fa lusina ya foko na fulo minata rusla karola adunta min tole wala ni holo be natija so yajal ila do ko mindi wo konti boni ka kolu lankenema ay wole itandije anin fanan kaaje ko honorable kaaje ko fanan banku dingolu ni tolu temo lanno se bambang idamalu tema yajal saje tolu kate faylalu se hani ka dunna ka futanna député kare kan kata honorable Daboya wala honorable Cissé ka fay kon dolde na ñintudo ñinni bije wata ya fahamle ata ñanta min kel afana sa foye ko den tolde be ñinne to akobe laali tenne wala hani wote ñe bundala abe bunda dole to yaajel aka jele yitande ako walatina ka calmin yalo ko wolle be kala ñintini sabol ñin kono e ba jibelale e la lodulalu e sa wo seneyandala député la ala do ko munete ala député boñinto mba faham la janne fanfanke ntol fana mune ñanta ni tema mfanan salon isaje soso kana ñokana soso fa yo ni o boda je fana budget nin ko budget wala banko na fulo ka tama ñami aliya moy ni samo bi na bene ka mino ko finance minister o wato mino be Basse tundo ja alka moy ko finance minister Andrews Camara Asan Musa Camara minister of finance abe budget o dila ya kebal bi janne min hakkilo baka walla be lola ka fo ko banko na fulo adunta tenne abe kala tenne namo o wato le ka fo munay namo la faale ba namo la fa wato pour que jang sen yande honor buba alba fo le budget se ala fo ko e man sa kunda ka namo la fa wato minna mo be ka o fahamde wo be kan na wo budget wato le ko sa député non hani ñin namo ma ñana kafula na kafuta be ñinne wulula bare hani a ñanta kafula fanteng adasa kadu ni namo man kafu nte ñin do ko no la e tolle ko be jibe ye song wala e balang wala ya murundi ko ali ñin falinje ali ñin lafaje ali ñin tutuje abe ali ajale wo fanam fekkede ñam den e committee fanam soto amanke ko dol député talulu ni sew be min fode jall e be mu député bunna la do e gatara ko hani do ko siata e committee soto committee bunda kari wala be marala jata kende akunyala committee bunda kari na dandangol committee bunda kari fonni kendi kol ya talan wala nyama e saje ni mimbe mamanna wo ma fonda e sa fo député la committee ka wala ko standing committee wo committee lu e sa fa ko misal fe honorable Souaibou Touré e se ne la mol min yalon ko wala marata fahamu nonding anyin jaman laban ko wala ite alton la committee altasi ale wol jibe ya jel min marta tanko bundala e safa ko honorable Tamsir Cham iteni la committee ali min bunda jibe saje o be kacha nyokal yana ko be censu na nyokal ila bantaba bato o committee aka wala yitani ila lodula mo minute ani fanan e nyanta ni be ta ma nyaw nya fanan ko committee do bi je min yalon ko wala mo mansa kundala do ku dulaluti nka fo min ko parasteta lolu nde ka fo ko putu jobolo ibe mansa kunale kono bari ibe lori ifaye bari ibuka do ko ke foye ka do mansa kunala kodo wole ka wo bundalu tamandi misal fe nin ko gamtel mbenga gamtel lonne ko social security ko post authority andi wo bunda sifal ka wole wol fanan ni sita fo sango kamalta ise kili inila alfal ikoy alla na fulo million bilnanga alle munne doku ya yitande nga nyi doku kare nga nyi doku kare leke nga nyinne dépasse de cho se wuli ko ha nakaro keta jindulato ya jal ibe fele silinja walla hay ali ya katale ali kutu katala jam bari alla jang adasala ya jal misal fe tolo na doku dulaji GRTS masa kundale tam sa wosan katale ona do sare hayna tele o committee man sa fo ko bari ale ñi million taw woro tan sabani worole kanino alkalbe motol sanna alkalbe transmitter sanna bare transmitter misal fe yaje se jabi wala nga pudol ya jube ha wolbe na kunna tole min kata bitum yaje wolbe mu kulete bi yalon ko abela do kol kono min yalon ko e ka tamandi ado be jikiri minna wala minti ko janne minti sabobe banna Basse jang tol be momo min nata jang ila do ko mu muniti ala kumaya na kumaya tamba lonna aka tama nyaade abuka tama nyaade be wolonna woto ako abala kumu fara dami woni al se fereke al yenyini karoke se kool dol seriande mo na lafta mi ngomi kacala al mam min faham al se nyini kala ya wo faham ndo ni yalla wala na le jakale ku soto wala mira ku kote ya mira ka wo kanto al se min fono al sa foye isa abala kuma la suti ya fe ine bu wala kayto da min fono ba ala baraka
baraka baki ala ni ko juuf yetantu ngay jayi bawo saya fe dem dum tam programme ni ko no ñaata demandi pour ñu ka wal ni la ñu ka ro nan telo wala bi ko continuer do c'est mo do ko man me yalon ko wala mo Mr. Sidi Kontati atelier marling National Assembly la Cabinet Table Office Director wala dibito naliaje be do ko la cemba ko no tabulol be siare ndamen to kaytol men be ka dunje ak adresse speaker bala même marta wala fana be jenne atesina anale kacha legislative process wala mo minti wala mo loi taman dox ke nyamen anin loi deda process o men ka tara kunna men ka te fonga loi deda no o process ni seni kontamina anale kacha wala
moy dugol loi ina tawa e ligi amen en so men garido o mamen kolla on neddo hollo on hono loi moy dirte ono gilel do futtori do ha do haadi do on woni o wiite ko seni konte mako dum atta on haalande on kebat dum e hakkilaji mon
to mo seni konte lete me député mo la office auto.
Okay, I think Buba has given you an overview about the functions of the National Assembly.
Namira di amona mi botaja Buba aya itandala le député bunkata manyamela doko.
Your members of the Assembly have various functions, but key among these functions is legislation.
Ako député lo munu be député bonkono ye doko jamale soto bari bunda kilimije wo kumata baki ela doko nyingono wala mo alwa tamande nyati.
So legislation, if you think it's a simple process, but it's also a very complex process. And that is the more reason why I am here to talk to you, to try to demystify some of those things that, or some of the ways that the National Assembly goes about making those laws.
Ko loi do kunyania moy ni ma fami kamera ka sonia tale bari amam sonia wo nyama wala tina nata jam pour ka faham balia minya lon ko wole ba akuo kunna tola pour atena ase wosene yanda ma aka kenya ni be loi de dala wala ni député sita be sonna loi la.
To start with, we will all agree that the National Assembly is the supreme lawmaking body of the Gambia.
Dati wala minti ko na député lu minu be siri jang on ko loi min katama kunna tola aka bo itolle bulu itolle.
That is so because it's the 1997 Constitution that has vested those legislative powers in the National Assembly.
Wo fana man jolong samo sandode na bankola maral kamo Constitution ba wala ya assembly la ko wala mu ila do ko te nyanta wala kala.
So now the legislative powers of the Gambia is exercised by laws that the National Assembly will pass, and when they've been assented to by the President, then we have a law.
Wala mi luwal ti minu ka soto Gambia itolle ba jibela ya jaba kese woto nyokan fo isonta minna isa safe ya landi president mo nyatino la ni wo sonta aya sign wala ka signé asinake luwati min setan.
So this process, this engagement that the National Assembly does in making laws have been guaranteed by the Constitution, the standing orders, precedents and other traditions and customs of the Assembly.
Ila loi do kunya fana ya sembeni ni loi lela akatama nyami anina banko mankutolu min ya lon sonta wala asake ikaw bele jibe akona tola yana fako nyinyanta kala loi te min setama banko kanja.
All right, giving you an insight. When the National Assembly make legislations, they will enact bills, for instance, and when they enact bills, when they're legislating on bills, usually it's in three forms. It's either they bring you a new law, or they're trying to amend a law, or even trying to repeal an existing law.
Nibe loi de dala akatani fanna sabala asekeno loi kuto minene man dum wala minene man soto ye wonnati ka safe ko nyimu loi leti min nyanta kala min nyanta datila banko kan wala loi dol bije ikebayata wala imeta jang jamano nata si futa wati la ko loi de say nyanta jiber kala la nga yelemande nga fali wala te ni loi min be keri nyanta le fa nga bonni mumeke.
So under Section 79 of the 1997 Constitution, the National Assembly also have the mandate to ratify or approve international conventions, treaties, protocols, and agreements. Because you understand that we are living within a global village, so we don't live in isolation. We also form part of international organizations. So when these agreements are to be approved, they always come to the National Assembly.
Na banko maral kamo mimu constitution ote afana tam warawula anin konoto nyamo fana ay kamo ni sembo di député bon la pour banko kanjang nimbantala banko lu temo kambe ngolu ani luwalu ani kodol minu nyenta tamala Gambia ni banko lu tema kaba ali alo ne ko ndama mantara dunia kono alo dunia bebe sula ni nyola le wo sula nyolo la kol minu nyenta tamala banko ni banko tema aluwalu ni satol minu ba kuna tola tolle fananka wojibe fo anyanta kela wala atakela.
It is also the mandate of the National Assembly under Section 152 to approve the estimate, annual estimate, let's say the budget of the entire country.
Ila ko fanan ila loi banko loi min di la constitution odo fanna keme ani tanul ni fulanje nyinto e sembo di to la pour banko la nafulo manan ko mo nyanta la nyami ye songala wala e kana songala.
Under Section 155, it is also the mandate of the National Assembly to authorize loans.
Wo bunna kino loi la fanna keme ni tanul ni lulu nyawo nyinna itolle fananse ya maro wala kamo di ko banko ni bantala banko te ma don toro wala julomi nyanta tala man sakuna la karola kabo bantala banko no kanaja itolle be sonna wala ite sonna.
So generally the National Assembly can legislate on any matter, but of course there are exceptions or limitations to this. And if you look at Section 100, it is saying in as much as the National Assembly can make legislation, but they cannot put up a legislation that will establish, for instance, one party state, to put up a law that will also establish one religion as a state religion. And also, the National Assembly cannot put up legislation to alter, let's say, to change a proceedings of a court decision, or that will somehow deter or deprive somebody. Let's say, putting up a legislative law that will deprive people of certain interests or benefits. They cannot also do that as a parliament.
Ponyala, banko maral ko e sembo di de pour que loi lo dira. Para atewo loi kilo mo buku kilo mo nyina fa constitution o amma be di la ko isa be ke nole ka songala misal fe loi me soka foko Gambia kono jang parti kilin don de be sodala misal fe ko lakadang pakadang man hani la ka parti fo isa foko parti do be ka fay lakadang pakadang loi de bideta fo la ko wo lakadang pakadang parti kilin wala be kala Gambia ko e mo wo se boso wala misal fe iko dina kilin dron wala tarika kilin wala be kala Gambia ko jam e ma wo fanan se boso wala kiti bu wala kiti o mi yalon ko e kiti o tale fota na loi tino nyati no la ya fo loi e kiti o kunto akuna tola ya fo ko nyin loi jojo e nyin kiti o min gudu dibitele o sembo ka fo ko hani wo be burkala atakela wo dolo manke poti mi yalon ko ya sembo soto loi la karo.
We now about to go into the presentation, but before that, I want to give them a distinction between what a bill and an act is.
Kafomina ko kaito mi yalon ko wole mu ka wole safe pour ka nati ka député bumoto aning kaito mi yalon a safe ka ke loi tamani remoto to babol ka fo doy ko bill do be ka fay ko do kaito do be ka fay act o act ni aka ko etolne bulu ya fo ko député la act mi mo loi nyinti wala ya tina misal fe nyin do ko bunda kari allota nsembeta wala la wala mo bunda te mo ka sembe minna woni bilo mi mo kayto de min safela o ngani ne ngani yo soto pour ka dunina misal fe konde ka mol ma koy woto ise député kilingi ase wuli ay kayto safe kon lafta kayti le dundi la ka foko ka siga saba jamal kono anene ketale loi manyanna sonnal wo mo bilo dole te min sinano pour ya kacha ni wo lota bitum wo loi ni sinata ma karadola aka gele fote.
That's very clear. Thank you. So going forward, we can only have three types of bills that can come before the National Assembly, and that is one government bill. This is usually a bill that will come from the cabinet, and you can also have a committee. Okay.
Akamem for kaitol minumu min se futan nona pour député sa jibe kaiti sabale follow abe bola président on a la ministre ne bulumimu cabinet ya safe ko e laftale kaaje ko misal fe nse alkalo la jolonde misal fe o kayto bota president on ala cabinet le député sa jibe o mo jeli ne misal.
Okay. The second one can also be a committee bill. This is a bill that can be introduced by a chairperson of a committee.
kayti fulanyo min isa jibe no wala mimbe bola committee bulu mimbe député bu no kon dola committee de kabel nga ko lu jibe tata banko be kan kunna fayeda nga nyina je ko nyin committee nyin nyanta nyi mira la ko nyanta nata da député bu to ya jibe forsa tamandi no wala ta tamandi no.
Or we can have a members bill, and usually this can be introduced by any member of the National Assembly.
Wala député fam kun kilina la mo kilin député kilin se mira do so ko nde de be la fla nga nyin safe ay ke no luwati bare o luwani ni nga sa mba sambala pour moño député ya jibe mba kacala fombe sonna la fonte sonna ala dalilol di abuka sabe bare fay dalilol di akake ku abuka ke ku sone ari wote ha mari se taraka na ba do ko la sanyi fula aba mira na ba akoni dundi do la député bu to ñen ka nata la fa do fa na bijele wol fa na ba dalilo ñini kala pour ka finti ka bay banda.
Now, looking at the legislative process, I think that's even the focus of this presentation, and that's what I'm about to talk today.
Ala kacha fa o minti wala minti ko loi katama ni ñami député bu moto pour minu ñanta kala wala fa mo ala bundata.
First of all, it will start with pre-legislative process, and usually this is either a member of the government or any member of the National Assembly. When they try to identify policy areas that needs legislation, this entirely where the process begins.
Akadati ni dulale la fo abe bola mansa kundale la karola ba wala committee mol wulu be député bo yinto ya ko ku sonson e kamena ko ku sonson malon fo nak mo mande ka ko senata mol balba ya ko jibe folo fo janning iba futande la ko tay nga tabele de say fente miramo kono mimbe nora ala jibe.
And when that is done, then they will proceed to draft the proposal, that's the legislation.
Itu niyo pare rapidi sina miraro lu safe to isage isita ye lawyer ngini wala loi dokula wala moko minse mako miraro nyita e mone safe la akwa nyiko.
If it's a government bill, it will still require cabinet approval before it will be gazetted and even be brought before the National Assembly.
Nabe wala mansa kula la karola faita cabinet wala president wala la minister ni wol fona ya jibe ibar kayto dobi je kam ko gazette iba finti la mansa kula la bunda nyinto ya kampula je folo janning abena itolia.
So if it's a normal bill, the gazette period will require a period of 14 days.
Niya tara na silo le miyalon ka boto masakuna la karola nata ta wo masakuna la kibar kaito minto ka fay ko gazette iba safela je ya ajanjam jama molte ma tibitandi nani wato la wala mloko fula wuche winto.
If it's a constitutional bill, it will require a period of 3 months and 10 days before the gazette can be matured.
Niya tara na loi kule miyalon ko anyanta dunna fayto gazette nyinto kari saba nyom tilita kono to ni abe wala soto janning abe banna woto yena sambana.
So after all this, then this is when the bill can be submitted to the National Assembly for introduction.
Bitum niwo kusosomo be banta woto le o kaito nyi isa chikano na ka sambana speaker na la député nyatile wala pour ya sa jube.
What follows next is the first reading. I don't know if they usually hear about that.
Mim follow kita niya nati wolu wala drum ikamena ko wolu wala iba alankene mala sinya follow nyite ya kampula député nyatile wala follow.
And this process is usually, let me explain this. The person in charge of the bill will come and hand over a copy of the bill to the clerk, who will read aloud the title of the bill. Then it will be deemed to have been read a first time.
Yo, nabota misal fe minister bulumi marta seno bundala misal fe abinala le ay kaito follow the clerk la mimbe député bumoto pour isa censu nyoka ne yaji be kabiti na robi bam kaito mbodi ala mol nya kodo fo mol se sobi ike sobi dile follow mo ibina mune dantela akajele fo.
No debate will take place at this stage.
No
debate
ni ayitandi wolumola député buka ko kacha wolumola mune ba buka jibe ya moyle dron yela kalkularo ke ya nati yela kuma kan moyle sa ye sobi dile ye bari isa ko nyin kacha.
So at the conclusion of this first reading, it is either be named the second reading in the following day or anytime later, but it cannot be anytime sooner. That's less than 1 day.
At a terminal tilikile wolumo dron la ya nati wolumo la yani montoro wati na do nyo kumande ko ale nga jibe nga kacha hani ase do anya fight tilikile soto e bulu ya jube ifana ya faham janning e be dunna ko nyi kacha ko abuka ke
Then thereafter the bill will be appointed for the second reading. Then at this stage, the person in charge of the bill will come before the parliament and move a motion for its second reading.
Ni woketa misal fe ni agriculture minister le marta wo kayto la pour ka natina wosina lo député fo nyatelo aya karan kala ngani yo yitande ani mune be safen nge.
After this will be followed by a debate by the members, and what they debating here essentially is the general merits and principles of the bill.
Ni wo bota ge bitu ni ala député be nyatino la bitu be sene la mirole ya kachakala dol sa sonala dol sa fako kule minyanta kela atarde telephone anyanta na la juna dol sa fako nyimman na fa soto dole jang na faylu banda ya jibe mude an nafa minu ba kono damali ya kacha nyofe fo bitu wono na kacha dayeleta ha.
At the end of this debate, a vote is usually taken.
Bitu niya ko kacha ya je ko balamo dol siata wala minu sonta be janna minu mansoni be janna isina foko sai woto alinga akarfe fay.
So if it's approved at this stage, then the bill will automatically be referred to the ABC. When the ABC will commit this to relevant committee or committees of the assembly for detailed scrutiny and report back to parliament.
Bitu misal feni o kaito lande ya karte fay minu siata wol sonta bitu isna foko ya saba committee do memo ABC wala mo
it will automatically goes to ABC for ABC to committee. Assembly Business Committee.
Assembly Business Committee. Wala committee dole be député bu ko ila pol minu ka tamanya ka saba wala to ka wala ABC ya nyaje nga fo ya de do samira fo ABC A for alpha B for clarity alpha.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, but there can always be a scenario when this vote will be negative. If the vote is lost, remember at this is also a critical stage of the legislative process, because the survival of the bill can also be determined at this point. Either the bill makes it to the next level or it dies here. Like you might give them the instance of the constitution and even other legislation.
Yo, I can mean for ten or kaito in secure knowledge. It's a song, wala it's a five banta, wala mean to go a man song. Misal fe anene sotanum, attorney general, minister matter luala. I kaito no someone nje kuru jojo kiti kundula la joining alawanso. I kuma kende paro a penyi nyande dalilo nate wala sembede bab afuda tema. Bari ya jibe kiri ukara ko no. Afai banda manso. Amantambino. Misalo le moto kili.
So, for instance, if an education bill comes before the National Assembly, immediately after the second reading, it will be ideal only for the ABC to refer it, let's say, for instance, to the Education Committee.
It will now figure out ABC committee, the committee member called Gibela Yanta Tamala Yami. Nitol Fanam Paretage, Sina di committee dola Miyalonko, Wale Marata, Bunda Nina, Kuru Fanansa Gibe. Abuka Sonia Yamat.
Now, the function or the role that committees should do at this stage is to examine the bill clause by clause in detail.
Wotole wo committee kaminge do ku koleba ka jibere asafero ni asafe nyami hanna man safe ko ko hani nyin harafu kari man kitaje ali wala faje ya kilin tombu kilin jibe akoto mo muneti tuba baraka safe tuba kawla akoto mo muneti ka bala minna ye fendundi o kayto nyin kono mimbi na kala luade sama mimbe be kadala yaje so wala de ka seniyani misal fe niko jenda iko hinin shi wala mkewoni musote ikavole hani ala faramansani hi wala mkewote shi wala musote ponika niko hini hidro deni honorable Sefu Sinano nga nyobulo butango nga fudu wala kumani aisa de nyomu da ko nga nyofudu ni da lo apa e sile fo si musile de hini hile e jebe omwol bele jibe ilin kilina resi ya be safiku fightem.
So essentially, you have explained to them what the committee does. But let me say this here: once the bill is also before the respective committee, they have a period of up to 16 weeks to deal with this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ni was asinale 16 weeks was 4 months. Kari nani nyom. kari nani hani bi amanke luwati folode kaytele min fota a coco warata nka moyle la bandabal na député be batu kande ani honorable choix be fota tay batu jandiro na moy go be hin kayti kare le watra e sema mo jabato folo a fota le folo do bari iman kuntu kar wala be mol fa ade saje wo dolo balo kadu jama en kamoy ko e député honorable cham de kana yende bien wote loi nanga watra hani kuma ma foje so kaje it's a law
So after when they've done with their work, the next stage is the report stage, and this is when the respective particular committees will report their opinions and recommendations to the General Assembly.
It is an kibaro safi olem report oti committee insa jibe ye minjeje imam minjeje ye min shute ani imam min shute is now report oti da ka futani do.
So further amendments may be made to the report, but once the report is adopted, please clarify to them that often we'll have reporting or information that the bill is passed. This at this stage, when the report of the committee is adopted, doesn't necessarily mean the bill itself is passed.
Coming for Luana Mira Tafa Safeta report or Safeta Futandi. When
the bill is taken back to the National Assembly, yes, the National Assembly will reconsider these bills, with or without due regards to the observations of the President.
Now, President wa nyimbi fo ala mira ro abijele wala atije bari itol la ko minti itol se woke no la hanima woto jibe.
Now this time around the threshold will have to increase for the National Assembly to pass this bill, and that will be like 2/3 of all the members of the Assembly for the second time.
Kadu yet ko da do ni o wato sita bido silan karhalo kat itol député bolo tanlulu nin sayol be adoyata ya mo tan
2/3 like 40 something 44 yeah.
44 itol député tanlulu nin sayol be nani wole nyanta sonna ka foko ay ke luwati ni wo man sodro oram ka foko wa boytala te londo.
So now once the President finally assents to the act, it will be published in the Gazette and then it can become enforceable.
Bitum niata nak isonta la sa tambite bulu President way mimbe miro ni sonta isinake man sakuna la kibar kayto be ko Gazette wala Gazette.
So in short, this is the legislative process of the National Assembly.
Kumala sudia fe député ka loi tambini nan ka de da nyami nyine ma silolte ka minke akake.
You might want to remind them that legislative process is also a collaborative and consultative exercise.
Aboka ke donc itola kuna miroti bari mirale mi yalon ko fananka da fanundele. Ka fota molma yela mirol jibe akobe nyaadi le tundol kan dino la karola politiko la karola fanko la karola ikaw be jibe akonole pour alwani natuta akana ke mantora ko.
And these efforts are to ensure that democracy is in action.
Adu wobe ni be okela ba jana ko pour democracy be tamaka.
To ensure that the interests of the people are served, the people for whom the law is intended for.
Kama yaje ko loi mi yalon ko molle tamo molla miro aseskia kono atekana kedo ikamile ko dictator ka sembo tamandiro sembo mi dia do ya miro do nyine be kelalo fat yake diata mole amandi ya mole welo ani.
So essentially the National Assembly's role is vital in shaping the future of the Gambia to effective legislation.
Woto mbengalo ne ka kumata bake ko député le lodula banko kan akumata bake bankola nyato tato anala yirwa kolto.
I thank them very much.
Ala baraka bake
mami rabindina yo ko fuddori o wi bay ko legislative process woni do fuddori do haadi do rabindingol o wi ko section 100 on woni deftere lamol de Gambienne dama ta yahi ton tawata dole de député be ngokka pour yobe moydu loi woni won loi non o process bay yimbe be si alami no be ma bada luwaji goddita boyi wala bada luwaji kesi boyi do non acte sa nani bill he acte miijo ngo jama windama nawama to suudu député ɓe to ɗum taw ɗum ko miijo ko ɗum wiyete bill ko ɗum hawrindina waɗa miijoji mbaɗa nawa to ti suudu député ɓe to aussi député ɓe jewti e kulle muɗum ha dakkori ha wonti loi on tuma ɗum wiyete acte ono miijo ngo ɗo fuɗɗode ɗo ha nde député ɓe jaɓata ɗum on tuma ko bill wiyete e on ɗum ɗon ne gon ɗin miijoji ne noon o wi ko process waɗi miijo ngo si waɗama e ɓay o wino moyɗoɓe luwaji ɓe ko dame tati woni executive bill ta ko to ministre ɓe to immol walla to président walla ta ko members bill woni ta ko miijo député tan miiji hunde ina waɗa e society he moƴƴani wiya ok accu minen mi waɗa ɗum loi ɗum ɗon ne tawa e process e walla ko committee ɓay miɗen jogii committee ji ko wiyete committee ɗo gandan ɗuma e kulle cellal ngal suudu député ɓe to ko noon woni omen peccaɓe goto fof goto ɗo heɗa gandal ma ɓuri ɗo hewde ko ɗon mbaɗeteɗa e ɗin committee ji jiya e ɗin committee ji goto miijo walla committee o fof miijo wiya a ɗum ɗo de comme ça no wiru ni ɓoggol cigarette e nder mbool o moƴƴani saabu joni a wonat min miɗo toka an a tokata kono simi tokki cukkiki gukkitanmi koye maɗa an mo tokata hikima tampini wiya ok joni mbaɗen ɗum loi committee o wiya yo mbaɗ ɗum loi ɗum noon si waɗama loi ɓay hunde fof ta yeesojoto toon mostly ko chairperson o gonɗo o yeeso on committee on watta président biɗo kono so ala ɗon ne mo wawi okku goɗɗo waɗa process ɗum noon si yawti henga ko wiyete biɗo ko first reading second reading third reading on woni ñande miijo ngo hawrindina winda nawato suudu député ɓe to on woni first reading second reading woni on tuma si miijo nawama toon on tuma député ɓe ɓay ko député ɓe fof goto fof ina jogii hen ko haalta on waktu noon men uddita pour min jooɗo mi wiya ɗum ko wiyete ko debate waɗe debate ha men kawra joni en kawri ɗon noon mbo wawi yawtude wawi was yawtude e second reading o député ɓe si hokkidiri hakkillaji maɓɓe ɓe pooɗodiri ina moƴƴi moƴƴani mbo wawi yawtude mbo wawi was yawtu so o yawti on tuma ɗum nawe to wiyete committee on tuma yimɓeje wasi moynama tan waɗat ɓe memi on tuma noon ɓe nodda yimɓeɓe fof steko kala mo gandanɗuma ɓe miiji loi o si ɓe noddima an en okkude gandal on tuma ɓe noddama so e ɗum ɗon fof sikati si ɓe kawridini ɗum hande ko maɓe dutto suudu députéɓe to ɓe ballina on loi minen ha hande député ɓe ɓay maɓɓe deta ko nelaɓe tan ko maɓe kimbito to suudu députéɓe mawdu to ɓay ko committee si haalama d'accorama ha men d'accori no mbinomi ni si tawi yawti min wiya paden ko wiyete ko third reading e on tuma noon sika ɓay ɓe nelanoma min fof min jotto e maɓɓe député ɓe committee o ko windi ko clause by clause woni kala to men kiskito kala ko gandan ɗuma goto hen goto fof aɗa jogui hen ko poɗɗa ɓeydude walla ko poɗɗa usdude ɗum ɗonne simin jaahe ɗum ha min fof min d'accord on tuma noon danakata ta yawti ɗonne noon si yawti ha hande hani de koma jomumen e loi o aussi député ɓe d'accord o namane to président o ne waɗa assent o wi assent o noon mbo wawi toon wonde balɗe capantati o woni toon balɗe capantati si tawi président o daari loi o makko de miijo makko dal mo jogui ko wiyete reservation waɗi miijo makko dal waɗi ko gandandɗuma e nder loi dal makko ne ɗum ɗon ɗum welanani ɗum makko ne hande mo wawi ruttinde mo wawi o wi o waɗani asen kono ɗum ɗo taki inen ndi mi waɗani asen o wuttina ɗum to suudu député ɓe to wona ha hande suudu député ɓe nde ha hande soɓe maɓɓe nde soɓe mbaɗi mainten position maɓɓe o andi ko suudu député ɓe wiya minen ko onon ɓe jooɗani toon na wayno ni no député ɓe fof soɓe dakkori e koɓe mbi ko ɗum na wayno nden ta ko leydi ndi fof dakkodiri ande nden koko député ɓe mbi ko on wonata to loi o nden noon loi o ta gasi kono ha hande noon tan heeɗi ɓay sa moyndi loi kadi a hollat yimɓe ɓe a moƴƴini loi yimɓe ɓe gandat loi ina moƴƴa oɗa moƴƴina ɗum watta noon ɓe ƴetta loi o ɓe naɓa ɓiite ko wat gazette sa nani gazette koɗo kibaru laamu ngu kala ko nganndanɗuma eɗum jiɗi hollidde yimɓe ɓe on information ko toon o gazette on tuma no yimɓe ɓe fof kolle wondena loi filde cigarette noon ɗum koko haɗa e nder leydi he ta yimɓe ɓe pamanne ha loi moƴƴinama e raɓɓindingol dal ko ɗum ɗo woni the legislative process.
Samba Diallo joni andi ko ɗum batta andi goko Basse da ko Basse immi hombo to okay what we going say maybe ñu def moy ñu def am nga fu nek naaj bi tàngana te li ngeen toogee nii mbir mi muy mel ni mu ngi xala soo bi tuuti te fii nii joolaa yaa ngi fi pël yaa ngi fi man nag pël la suma maamu jigéen pël la mun naa laa ko pël tuuti waaye am na jot bu fi nekk joolaay comme ñu def kaf bu ndaw rek diggante joolaay ak pël parce que loolu dafa bokk ci liggéey bi yëfi kalante Gambie bi loolu lañ xam joolaay ak pël yi séeréer yi fële Touré yi ak Cissé yi jaana kay waa ak ñoomi kay ak yooyu loolu dafa baax ci liggéey parce que loolu dafaa gën a dundal suñu xol bi pour ñu gën a miinante gën a mun a waxtaan parce que léegi soo xamee nit te mënuloo am loolu si moom dana lay jafe pour nga wax ko sa soxla pour nga wax ko yow li nga doon ak lan nga bëgg a def soo li nga def mooy dinañ ko Atumbe mu ñëw mu defal ñu benn kafi joolaa rek diggante pour ak joolaa su ko defee ñu jëlee ko foofu ñu dem Atumbe please
yande mbita ñi dipiyato mbenu abattoir ko ngena je fulon la ke baati ani séeréer ni si wa fula wato be nak bigé tribula kilin do la ko so do bamto ngo mu nak afade na am ma koy jang nga mu nak da fulo le tata pour kala salarita ka salarita bamto même bi ke ka sañi akay ko ila ID card expire fulo kay ko hani nako do ma expire fo na ID card expire après ko men nako do sotola fulo kay no saba ke fala ba musuni ko kumbo da bulo ako musuni mo dele expire ale do ko do ma expire so ni nda ko afanya ba ka suna ro ke de ga ne be kere e ko na yambo ni dam fulo ko ade ala ko do fa so ka do ko do ma expire ay ka do expire sai malo bank tiyo ni ani fulo ni mana ko ra fulo de han sai de ya sino ni ngal batam de bakele
fulo wona tabata anata ani assalamu alaikum salam ako ka coordinateur ga kay yo si fulo sita yo ko boadi kambami ko am nana bana aga ko ta fo boadi ba ko muto le ka bato fulo ko wadi
You have to put at least 5 minutes dedicated pour mol men yalla ko yini karo soto e kuma ko men yalla ko fo kanyam wala loi de la Kenya ni yini karo soto kamo kan fula kam man jola kam no sere kam man ke kam surwa kan ese blo wi na ma ko de yini karo ke se jabiro dilo kan sai na ko jam ala ko ni fen sita ka ko da ni dula ba ni ko kay karanje ba o di dolo do ko wala anu mobe ma faham ni mu fanna kirim dam mante ko ni ko
awte malik kubali abe ci marasi ko to yalla jambe ko mo ma do ni e mo dira mo ko awa nan ni gada ay mo do bi ni tata député bula maya ta baki ko ka patona atu kudo bi ni after député bula na man ka watola ko misal fi mbambalata alimanta fa nin taka dunda bukola ati nyaawo kasi abake de do tula ni ngarda bi gele o dum diptor ani yama yukuna de kam sake bambawti ya ka patola ni tama sakunda bodi wa kada kunki na la bodi wa ni ngaro fla nyaw fana ndelay santo jam ko kili bidio kati ya mbake wolo price control oti kati ya mbake sande ni ngaro kila fofu diptor du isoko tamal no banka o department do londi adu sida sade oto bon kara fere sida sade oto yeta bitiki fula saba nani yata bena function price bagas kilewu foru ki video no la ba foyte do no la wala lafta ni plan ki seni la fo
Whereas I was not expecting I would translate in English, but taking cue from what he said, I mean, he's advocating for the establishment of a price control unit, whether National Assembly members can legislate something to establish price control in this country. The other factor which he said, which he mentioned earlier on, was the need to fast-track deliberations or issues or matters that are coming before the National Assembly members. If I
said he said that into the gathering.
Why you at the going
to say what brought us here, they were asked each I think each area to select five representatives.
The kind of the put what the
leader.
Oh, they were with the seven
He said that's what they call it. He said that's what I think.
National Assembly can do to regulate the inflation of prices, right?
Price control, you can mean in there
is already an institution in place, that the Consumers Protection Commission, and essentially that is being established to deal with issues like this.
Consumer Protection, is it the commission? Yes, commission of the in Yarongo, Massandis Kulu, Waleka Kul Jibe Daniel Takelanya, and if an Ashoto Nyafana, Waleka Maraola.
But let's not forget to say we are operating in a liberalized market. Let's remember that.
Kana ina fana ko be safaro min be ke kan dunia kono abe yelerene hakutala nyatala datala momo de yemin de da masandiso do wala yemin do ko de femoto wala do mor femoto wala ko ni wobe sula la min na dunia kono among price control su ka fo ko nyinda be kala nyine da be wafela nyine.
I am not holding belief for the honorable members, but I can remember times without numbers. Members have been asking the Honorable Minister for Trade regarding this issue.
Ako hakilo ba kana dibitero watu jenna fan ka minister mi matla tula ya kunya la ika nyimbunda la yebi fote.
But his response has always been the usual one that I just said.
Aka bari minister nyinka mimo minjabe no wo fano la wala nyine ngam fote ko masaniso aderanya to akenya ni to wafinya to dunia marse ni kono control the.
But I can assure them that the members had their concerns, and then I want to believe that they will take it up with this commission to pave the ways forward.
Consumer Protection Commission mimbelori pour masandisol Kenya la makonika niba tala le police sa kacha.
And after Mr. Conte, and it's I can locate between deal and act. First of all, I'm going to the confusion by what yeah you be a bemu kukilini niye below nati in parliament yala ni parliament ni National Assembly bidonera na son ngamra wala kana ke an act of parliament ngamra wala kana ke an act of parliament yani di video ba approve bidolo ren ni di video ya onta don akata an act of parliament. Okay, when you do men, when you go among amantari Nina Tobicon Bari, National Consumer Protection Commission. Ala ko Canadang abangun ni ko modama. Canadang Kwe kundina saya mo salong ko bunda be kerin. Ni mo men meri ala ko ibugal rolo ni lamoy. Taro na pang ni National Commission Protection Veteran. Alo wona ka bangu di ngole mako. Abelo fu bangu di ngole. Niama consumer belka consume roke so awajata mingma do o bulani do gom dum ay basit do ya o bidik do ben ma sapo joy ya do men ma mu nogay ya da ben ma nogazege yo noy tema unto sota Pero una forza. Be ya so da yo. Ama ke forza bi isa sang mo ki dimbulu. So, holon. Kita ni karo bebe la de wala ka.
Tambe sisela ki dari karo sa do. So, kami la tadi karo men kala. Belum wati dol ka so do di bunga do di dol ka ni so satare mande kamoto o adu muno be siare dol men be kato faya ba kola ko di dol mon kambe banko la entere le munyenti ari ila patio la entero mantradi o le atin ne mon kambe kudo o atara o be keri ne di bunga do ba ko mantra keri ka patio jube atara banko la entere le lafta wala ni
ñing ka ca ko may to baake tolba NGO la farnal la mi ngeta tostanti my name is Idrissa Keita national coordinator tostan Gambia bante la bakal na la jang because niya ñing na ko mayata aban to la karandiro ko no le be electorates ani ye mol min tombong be su ganda do la ñola ñami so wayatina I want to commend everyone. Lafta me fola consumer protection they are trying to open a regional office in Basse. I'm aware of this. In fact, they are here some time back. Hopefully before the end of this year in Alajan, maybe more young on their behalf, but I'm aware of this. So to support the consumers. Nagi ni karo beta fanna minna na Mr. Kote Minfojan ning loi député Sontala akake athlete. But if I'm fighter President Moya, I have seen Uruguay Tama. But another Itandiko, do BJ, President as a Kudo Miran Wole, Janaba Nikaito Sana Sake, I am already deputy car. For me, recommendations of what I observations of possibility I am already deputy car. For Janaba Kela, Foreign Minister Legacy as a cabinet Jibeba. Adu for apple dele instance of the where inconsistency nataje like president will recommendations that would deputy that ya reject or if ya reject what happened munakanake at the end of the day between the legislature and the president to assent. Finally, I'm sorry, I don't know by the Albert until Friday. Nyinkumaya bake if more obedient finance nga disseminate na community so na institutional do finance. But in finance we have radio program, 1 hour radio program twice a week. Tomorrow sama aramiso ka radio program also. But nga de ko ni kacha kumata bake pour banku mo sa kalamta. Ning député basotola jang waram no over basotola jang mi alo ka radio program o kero at least main areas of discussion in Banku Molia Kala, we will be ready to offer our radio program and allocate it to any one of you could disseminate in your
I wanted to, I can even say this Mandinga. Yes, more in karaoke, what to do my lua from the Kiduat. Alors, même quand on député Bumoto, il s'affoule loi par un sasatra à manquer de Duati follow. Député la Judo Full Tate Pareta, Ani, puis son dako à côté de l'Oubule. À manquer de Duati, le président m'a signé. Pareta président, nous à Sawato la Asinake Duati. Go for any karaoke, Mumba Tostan ko, Yala Nafutama Pura sign. I didn't 3 times of a Pura sign, Unama sign for a sample, Parliament Kamasa, Munatina. Dalila la temu hil jalafta dibitel simen jude dibitel lo jude wala o hello me ayefo manke dibitel kam forcer de pour somala de dibitel sa jude anesa nadi ate mol men fo yata nadi ate kanata du wol be o signa fana ñoo fana ni bina pass da wota mo nga fale ko say mo men nan kam wol be sulala men na pour ay som pour ay pass abela fala de na man ko ti bilo jama na me ke constitutional bilo simple majority le ni speaker ko dosi fi police ay o jama so dem na ka kele bari nit ñi fulata ni tembo ne sa e be sula la mo ne pour ay bilo si pass nga fara bi da fu mo tanna ni nani na bodo sa ay be mulla president ka na mu ka yaram folo folo ay tiltan sa so ka sen ti woro wala ay wala sa so ka nyanta sen la obviously nyanta sen because ni mo constitution la kumoti so now I say nana instance inte not into the life kono na do wato parliament inte nana ma kalanta bari ngalo ko national fana aketa man because the democratic state loko so they are going by the dictates of the constitution so the constitution ko me ngamra mo be nyanto kala so ngama to ko ni fita de fana anyanta sen anda ba sen
okay dibine bu ko nak mo mo ndi kataje ila tundo toyalla ani ila political party or yake independent candidate ni wosaya da fu ngolo momo kataje ikate ila tundo toyalla ila party o toyalla o yake independent candidate ni wo be kataje be katara sirinje pour Gambia toyalla ni katabe kerinje kata fanna kata nyame wala ni ko wala na majority soto ani minority tumodo c'est d'accord pour le meilleur ko wala la tableau ka banko la ko tumodo c'est d'accord ansay banko la ko awa min man d'accord amanke ko yimam banko je wala même d'accord la woda mala ñay banko je bare bu ka kacha pour na patio de ma toya ka kacha pour gambe toya bare wokono ka disagreement soto o disagreement ni ton be kaaje nyame wala o te kaaje nyame wala banko na fat ni kaaje nyame wala banko na fat say o dormi do dum o tuda abul me don be da me en sabo wala odi so pour ko mo ni sita ni ngamira wala mo ko de sene fona ko ngara be bi nakko de sole fetto de mel fa la je o alaji mo djouf me alon ko is an experienced guy I mean, na parliament and the parliamentary procedures understand. After the second fight, thank you.
Yala ko ni president Massa. Mune mekela. Comme ni adrega mune mune. But dipje manasu. Dipje ya de ko itiliye me bindije wala kanya de wala beja. Loi ko wala belwa. President tate ko telwa. Bari nangam le ba comme côté africain ni tan ni man soto tan lulu ni say kon auto président ko fo le lo ka ide bi ma tan ni ma kan ni auto président ko fo le tan so ako be la ni ka fo comme ni atali ko ngari ni atali président kay to mu di député bu amasari ko de yo yake ni amasai ko de yo ni indibite mu yo de yo tubi ya de ko hano de yo amasai tente ibalanta ibali ko ni tele men fo wala be wala o duwa ya fo président ya sai bal ni a ta dibite mu ne nan ka mo men sotla mu ka ga di président ka fo man so wala mu tanna ni nan di ka bo tanno ni sai ko no o to président men fo wala be wala ya fam loi ni dita ko yo kike nimba
uri ko en wat doole dum woni wat ko loi ni sam sanani député loi sam ko loi darbi min e o kulle loi min ligo nawano kala loi batte o leydi Gambia ren ala bawol mo tayona sundirde so dum na foti dadde na bere o say min bada loi godde wiye o wite ko régulateur na hen tege dum non fof ko suudu bi de dum mota so kala biide ma dum do sa wadi dum loi nangam dum do sa wadi dum loi nangam andu ko suudu bi de loi ko suudu bi de mota so yewtere na wadi fayda no bet bom kono ko jimmi en urtu lakmin gande ala ko am indore leydi Gambia tay wona der suudu bi de comme ça no haalira di loi non na wawi immor wona kala laamu wondema ministry illa ɗum département illa ɗum agency na wawi loi e nder suudu kewe caggal ɗum noon enen député oye amen minen mbawi immomin gadda loi e nakkiran ɗo misal tan ɗum woni comité jogiɗo kulle cellal to nder suudu député ɓe so ɗon ɗabbi liggey député no yaata ni oɗon gowi yiide min jaati hoore am illa ɗum dewɗo am illa ɗum comité membaji am ɓe jimmo e mbiya comité jogiɗo fulle cellal ngal min gaddi o loi min jiiɗi o loi daro so ɗum noon fof na hen yarma min noon mbinemi ko honorable Amadou Camara woni inde am min woni député ñaani dia to wiide ɗo jaaga ɗon calminama
mi salmini hayteɓe mi salmini wandiraɓe jooɗiɓe ɗo ɓe fof mo inde mum e yettude ɓe mbaadi yettude fofof ngarmi tan nde woni hannde wiyama ko suudu député ji woni ko gondere dow mum yewtere nde machallah ɓe hakke ko nanni en koye kamen waɗani fayda no feewi min jinmi arde tan koto topic hakke minen rewɓe to sabu ngala ɓe mbi so a nani loi ko ɓiɓɓe leydi woni ko jeeyi loi te titi ko ɓiɓɓe leydi woni ko joƴƴinako luwaji te titi ko ɓiɓɓe leydi ɓe daari ha ɓiɓɓe leydi walla mo en jooɗoyi to bureau ji ɓeyɗenga luwaji kono min hunde wotere jinmi en namno hundere bula men député amen bulliris nan ɗo hetto ko kalanmi ko no feewi onon wandiraɓe worɓe ɓe hoɗon ɗo ngarmi haalde ko minen rewɓe ɓe miɗen manque teddungal to fannu gurdam ɗam e nder Gambia surtout ko wayno politique ji min goni e ɗo walla développement garowo he leydi he miɗen en manque yitade koye amen ko tagi ɗum hande so tawi woni a laari o wayno gaadinaji surtout minen to amen to so yeehi toon gaadin kam wiya ko rewɓe jeeyi so tawi yehi wiyama yo watte e juuɗe worɓe ɓe ceera ɗum wano ko kamɓe liggi ɗum ɓe mbawini ɗum addan ha gaadin o bona e juuɗe amen
walla ngal no manki yetto seeɗa ɗum woni affaire ceeɗal mino anndi so ya yimɓe gottima ay ko minen jogii kulle comité jogiiɗo kulle cellal minen len jogii komin kaali to ɓen jewtidi e moon mino anndi ha onduma rek lamdal ma ngal wawi moftowa onduma ɓurta lamdo ine ɓurtagal a yaaji ɗum kalanamin exactly ko ɗum ɗo he ɗum ɗo waɗi ko ɗum ɗo he ɗum ɗo wiya ɗon ɗum ɗo minen min keɓa komin jaabima hen ok a jarama
Yeah, attempt ka answer. I want to elucidate it. Regarding ako ni katara dibde mo nga dibde ka nyon sabat. Sometimes ni ka local ka dakali ko dibde be pakier mo do ko felo ko and sometimes ni mo ka ni ka sabat ake dakali because pakier la soko Gambia constitutional law sabat democracy le fond le bonage pour nous faut moi me banco quand comme ni ka fanya la niro le fata ni la niro fata pour ka fa ideologies o ideologie partir que le programme le bondi won ni le programme mo da ko ila to le que la banco di ngol jama ba ni o programme mo ya wasi a sonte e ka ke fay ye masakunda ata ila o partir le programme becomes a national program. Now tell me, how can you separate party from government? Ibe opposition. The program was to allow Wafi Gambia Dimole. The cartel dealer. You know, particular program becomes a national program. So, Bangmasakuna Katamawala. So, maybe PVP Jamano. Before I send someone as a national pilot, at the PVP secretary, me and Chief Justice is the Secretary General.
it will legacy approve as a party. Near approve, he now turned that to a national program. So unlike MPP, we have national development program. It's a program of the party, but now it's a national program. Ni UDP basically go for the program law among the UDP Canada. The program will become a national program. So how can we now separate these two? It body no more. When I have position, people should look at party interest. You know, should not look at party interest or national interest. How do you separate these two?
Many landlord no mo ihe sapo lady council affaire chelanga ko rota hande ko meni wadde elect you are deputy in the wala represent representation ko parliament no tudi fannaji hew legi men oro so bi chagale modo ma nyodo so bi chagale modo so ladde ke men ma wadi men ko no do me no me be hebi chagale uge Deputy also mobile webila on the current time for journal fee sub-deputy. May it never be question. May the current person that only file lady amending, ma go child lady amending. May win that deputy can do class of joy. Apo joy win that wala same community sakala minister. Or going to join and child sembo lotaro current child won't Sahani deputy ma o winda dum o wada ko minister by force ara ko jabo onu wadi kakal do ade jabani o wada be ko orlando maybe o question be ni ko ngi dum wadi to o goga kawna goga so wada be kambo tigi o ara o wada address o wada be address so be ay jo so be ngara satisfied me watte mo set ara wada ade document evidence o adamo ko parliament Rumani so dividend no do for where they use on
the rules of committee. Moving forward, questions coming from the audience, response will be coming from National Assembly members, so please can we pay attention, okay, when they are asking on the presentation. And I'll be calling.
And we will have powers of committees, classification of committees, functions of committees, and then we will have a conclusion. So as a way of introduction, parliamentary committees stand at the very heart of legislative governance.
In a committee la lobla ifitenda dokota kumata bakele ila subsorter.
They represent the institutional machinery through which the National Assembly transforms debate into action, oversight into accountability, and representation into tangible reforms.
Itole mo dokonolti mniala ukelo Diputel katama Paul Nukan anifana ke certificat de pour que la kachalu ke wala ke la do ke mo.
While plenary sittings showcase the deliberative strength of the National Assembly, it is within the committees that the true intellectual, investigative and consultative work of the legislature unfolds.
Itu ibe la do ke ka wala ila kacha ni committee no wala ka baraka na fa ila do to kapo lonna nuve o committee de minimum committee sima kilomite wala ka min fintini do wala ka jama nati ila do photo pour ka so yadi.
The role of committees is therefore not merely procedural, it is transformational.
Committee la lor la manke dam ko committee to le do bare de lorinne ka yele mandiro nati na ila do photo min nyanta ka
shaping the quality of governance and the confidence of citizens in their representatives. As highly put by one of the philosophers, committees are where Parliament listens, learns, and leads quietly, elegantly, and with purpose.
ila amarola anik ifotta minula anik iman minula pour ka molu sembentiya.
Committees are in essence the engine room of the legislature.
Ni kumo wollemo ni masumo itollemo ni motole itollemo député mo nyina masumo nyintibika tamani.
Where the detailed technical and investigative work of the assembly happens beyond plenary debates.
Inyanta koku jibela ka korosi ani fanan ka noma sata committee la do ko le woti ka won tahandino.
So one would ask how those committees gain their establishment powers.
Woto nyini karo sekeno le député la nyini committee la symbole ya bomintole ani fanan ya londi muneka.
As per the 1997 Constitution, Section 109,
1997 la Marakau Constitution of Fana Kemeni Koronto
states that committees may be appointed to investigate or inquire into the activities or administration of ministries or departments of the government, and such investigation or inquiry may extend to making proposal or legislation.
wala koto boro ke man sakunda la do ko dulala ani bundal min yalo ko wala do di banko nyin kanja.
And most importantly, that's the big part of it.
Ado min fomo ila do ko sembe ma warta minti wala mo wo lo dulaniti e kaminke man sakunda la do ko dulalto wala do ko gundalto
to investigate any matter of public importance.
Pour ise ko kisi ko ne mi yalo ko banko di mon la sulole.
So in essence, committees have an overarching mandate.
Woto committee lolani la kumaya moma dandulalo.
So let's discuss briefly some of the powers that are given to committees as per the Constitution.
Nalbe kachakela wala ka itala committee nyindol ila symbol ye kamo mindila ila do voto.
The same section 1093 states.
Section 109 ye nyine
for the purpose of effectively performing its functions, each of the committees shall have all the powers, rights, and privileges as are vested in the High Court at a trial.
Yeah, committee lua to bukota sembo mindila committee of committee. The sembo mindila lua to abundo ko na kiti bumba High Court e kama ni lua min soto ifanaka tama wala ila kumona.
In respect of A, enforcing the attendance of witnesses and examining them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise.
Kurni kamala kaje ko nibe ko kisikizila sero mini nyantanala ya jeko inate da ko committee lale ye kalindi wala ye tapta ko de minfola e kisikizilo jite ko soto de nem.
B, compelling the production of documents.
Adu fanan ka jeko ni sulata kayto la wala koko ne mimu kuma kawte bulu ki se fanan fitini no ya sindi committee.
And C, the issue of a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad.
Ani fanan is a commission londi pour niata selo be tunga wala batala bangoto isaje ko ise futa woma nyawonya ni nyama pour wose dalkuma ke jabi silo la ise min londi no.
So, as in any other departments, committees also have different types. We have in the National Assembly 3 types of committees. One is the standing committees. They are permanent committees with continuous existence across sessions. Example, Finance and Public Accounts Committee, Standing Committee on Defense and Security, Standing Committee on Public Enterprises, and Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, etc.
Committee do bije wolbe lorene na fudo katanyami ani fana bankola tanko defense ani fana batala bankol temala ani wosifa wolbe lorene kak min yalon ko wolbu kabuka.
So we have also select committees.
Wokola fana committee do fana kombone or committee call like a
they are established for a particular subject or ministries. Their mandate expires at the end of the assembly's term. Example, select committee on education, health, agriculture, etc.
The committee do tombone pour ye sasito ko do le wojibe ni wodo ko banda ye jibe se committee burka misal fe hadara la kumoto saite nun to minun president ya jame ala soto fe mo do minu ba ni kan be dami ye committee do tombone pour ye wojibe ni la do ko banda wodo do go committee ni ba jela wolbe bola jele wolte ka do je kote.
No, in essence, what I'm trying to say, we have three categories. That one would fall under special select or ad hoc.
Coming for I can be sending you a special committee le miyan ko ya kere le but a committee saboni I can be for a wole it.
Yes. So in our current in the current parliament we have select committees that had existed from the fourth legislature, but still they are called select committees.
Science committee do le very good nani jamu minube deputy wo committee de lo ringe for be.
Like select committee on education, every parliament that comes, they still exist. Select committee on health, select committee on agriculture, etc.
Misal fe committee de lo bundala agriculture and jata kede ani wasifa.
But anytime parliament deems it fit that they no longer need to have those committees, they can raise a motion and disband them.
But ni watu deputy ya ko committee ni man na faso do kodeke ise kuma kama landino le mu motion ke pour ka je ko ye wol committee burka.
But parliament, in any parliament that comes, there has to be a standing committee on finance and public accounts committee.
Bare deputy grupo nata wala kafu nata deputy ala ila wuchola finance committee wonyanta tabla jele and public accounts wala jama mola bundale ka kontibo.
Yeah, because they are been established standing by parliament and the constitution itself.
Katuwo banko loi fawale wolondi deputy muni to ko nyanta sotola.
So whether they like it or not, they must be part of the committees of the parliament.
Fol laftala wala man la fala bare o committee dai man ne won nyanta sotola jele.
So the third category is the special select committees.
Category sabanya nyito wala mo committee min yalon ko ike kere tomonne.
They are temporary committees for specific time-bound matters.
Wol ike tomonne don pour ye do ko di la watindi na ye wato di la committee ya nyanta banna watindi.
And they dissolve once their task is completed.
Ni ele do ko timande don to se buruka a committee te sotola kote.
And then your example can be very relevant here.
Wala nyiti ko ngam misalo min fono ni nuto president mo e committee min lo ndela pour kala soto fewol kisite adunta nyami ngani afundita nyami.
So now let's shift to the core functions of committees.
Sai ngata committee be akamiru foten be la do ko fon muneti.
Committees have legislative roles.
Ifanan ye loi de sote katama minna.
They do what we call bill scrutiny. Bill scrutiny.
Ika kaito lumini alonko wale mo kaminde da burke ke loi te se ojibe.
So committees examine draft bills close by close and recommend amendments to improve legislation before final reading.
Bo committee ka loi kaito lumini safene ka jibe la harafu misal fe na be safene je ya jube ya tembeli fanya tafutala dami ya la kurawa.
Like Mr. Conte cited, whenever a bill is introduced to Parliament, if it is not under a certificate of urgency, the standing order is clear that it has to be referred to a particular committee, and this is usually decided by the Assembly Business Committee. So what
Conte ya fanya bindro, robe je wato do, kabendo ko certificate of urgency wala mo, kaito kamo president of office ni do ko nyimu kule temi ya ko hataji kole. Ise député kuma ne kata pake wo hatajo kamani pour ka jibe nama ke wote la lo de jemi yalon ko wato de je wato mi yalon ko nyente wala no masala pour wo kayto ni ay fota ila ABC committee.
So once a bill is referred to a particular select committee, it has up to 16 days as highlighted by Mr. Conte.
Ko sele ya fanyami anyanta tilo
16 weeks.
16 weeks wala karinani nyonte anyanta wala sotola ay futa wo committee banito.
Yeah, then the committee will also do what we call public input.
Ni wo fana keta committee banji bele jama mola miro be kala je minute.
They can hold hearings to gather expert evidence and stakeholder feedback on the bill.
C'est l'onnal commandé wala mol mini fahamo so do ko nyinto ye kachandi ila miro la pour ka mundi ila committee la do ko nyinko.
Ensuring laws are well informed by facts and citizens concerned.
Ya je ko be loi minu dundila asake kuti banko molla e sulo le wo loi ti adum fana loi banko mol ya faham.
And one of the wisdom behind referring bills to committee is the issue of quality control.
Ni aje be wokela nganiyo nyinti wala nyinti ko ibe loi min dundila ase nafaso ay kese poti ko nyinko na kana ke fufule wote.
By the time a bill returns to the full assembly, committee's views Committee's review helps to ensure it is technically sound, constitutional and aligned to national interests.
Libajela committee ina udo ko janni ba murun la député mu bela ila banta bato bitimo la ya je ko min be nyanta seneyandi laje min musilanda te wala jakal ko yo be seneyandi akayto ni ko yana saba ila banta bato daminto bele de sila ka kacha yo fe.
So moving away from legislative role, they also have what we call oversight roles.
Na bota wala fana make ka luwa de da bari ye kama fana so de ko ko mino katama ye korosete wo poto ka tisisi mona bije ka mino oversight.
Committees monitor government policies and implementation on behalf of Parliament.
O committee le ikamansa kuna la saftolo anina tamandenya anina depaso ko do jibe isa jibe no le député ko to ya la yo kama fana so.
And this is a core accountability function.
Adu nyimu kuleti pour kontipo ase lankenema ibulu isa afutani no député la nyami.
They equally do inquiries and hearings.
Ika kisikisiro kele ani fana ka molsindi ka nyini karo ke kula mimman sene ya police sene yande.
They can summon ministers and officials for questioning, review government reports and conduct inquiries into matters of public concern.
It's a minister commandinore, it's a vice president of commandino, and the more ni mino masakula dula totari ke nyini ka utami yaro ko abedeni ila doku dula wala ila ministry budala wala ila tamande nyala.
And they also serve as watchdog of finance.
Adu fana ika lole ika ke kantarlaleti pour na fulo bundani na ka lundami ke hakilo to woto bage.
Committees like FPAC examine government spending.
Committee mi yalo ko wala be lori man sakunda la dépense ko nyala misal fe ni projet bal mi ike moy committee fana be lori mi ka jibe o doko fo doko folo ni aketale ban jelle dépense ani silo tada nyola.
And in essence, Parliament has really introduced something very, very new in our standing orders. Now these two committees, that is the FPAC and PEC, are headed by oppositions to show that there is impartiality in the scrutiny of government spending.
Yin député bu mo sayde ku kuta kuma fula nati nan ka dulu je wala min ko committee fula bi je min yalo ko man sa kula la do kula le tamande nyalo yo committee min lo opposition min be député min opposition no de wolle mu yesira tioti ani fana after part PEC and PEC moy public enterprise committee wala mo jama do gundal le la committee min yanko min ta do ko tamande je fana député min be opposition wala je siran tioti ya ke nyine kama kam tumado ni aje ya kan ngani mo nyinete ya kana ke ko man sa kundala do gundala ni do ni député ta min be man sa kundala fallola fasaro sinaje ni be ya wulide le pour tilmo ni tonya se sabati do gundala to asitama mo nyame nyati do.
So we can quickly delve into the financial role of committees as well.
Isaje la role do gundala fana na flow tamani nyani to fana so itandino.
So committees equally do what we call budget scrutiny.
Ika budget or banko na flow la nyabe la nyami ya tuma nyami sawani kono ifana ka wajaba kese woto le committee.
So committees that review draft budgets and fiscal proposals.
Ika budget or jibe yinu safe ko ngine ngane ka ke wala ka tamandi ani fana ko min ya ko wala le lori kat min nyanta kala wala minu ma nyanda kala.
To ensure that allocations align with national priorities and the public funds are used efficiently and in accordance with the law.
Kaje ko na fulo min be aranke so nyimto di ba dépasser la dami ani banko la haji sulo le tembere akana ke business passport karado.
So they do what we call expenditure review as well.
Ika jibele fana dépasser bulu kete ka ube 50 jibele fata ta nyama wala amanta nyama wala ilanna tambo ki jele wala iman na tambo ki jele.
So through committees like Public Accounts Committee and Public Enterprises, the National Assembly examine audit reports and financial performance of ministries and state-owned enterprises.
Imma sakunda do ko bundal min yalo ko ye londi ika kodo di la pure do ko ke wo bundal minto e la auditor la kayto ka kibaro min nati ni committee fulo be ka lole ka wo auditor la reporto jibele kodo fa dun ta nyama le fa man dun nyama de paso ni sino tata jola fa ni sino man ta jola.
So So in essence, in conclusion, parliamentary committees are not mere appendages.
Ako ni parliamentary député la ni committee amanke to question damati ko ye to bonde do dampe committee amanke wote.
They are the backbone of accountability, transparency, and participatory governance.
Ni ko ka ko nan kene mani ka semedia itole mo ko suru ni kai ay tama.
Their success depends on technical capacity, institutional independence, and rigorous follow-up on recommendations.
Ila do ko la timani no nyinti wala be londo min sotoje ye minno akwa nyin kono ani fanan kaje ko se cool be gibe min nyanta no wala ya noma anya.
And I end with a final note. The health of a democracy is measured not in plenary applause, but in the quiet diligence of its committees.
Ko demokrasi la tamane nyaka sotonde amanke nyindi don ko bulu ko so ka fa demokrasi barabe dende ko la miyango wolbe de ko min kan woni silo ni nyanto nyanta tala nyola.
Thank you very much.
Allah baraka ba.
Fanna goto ko nder chambers ko do be fenta duwaji. Fanna goto député be fo sendita groupe kala no jonna ministry danda be data fi hon no gole ministre be golle dabe luwaji mabbe di kalis ko golle fa ko golle mabbe fo di committee ji data din committee ji ni ko committee so do gis fay tati committee goto ko standing committee parliament yawto no do be arde ko be darno ni committee din committee même min tagi din ko standing committee anda ko nadi même min tigi so din committee ji goddi no hen we FPA goddi ko woni la fodo dépense labu hono nati to yatita o inde FPA committee goto ko P woni hono gari company ji danda ko di woni o ma offside danda ko under government woni kono kambe be golli woni public ambe woni golli so din committee yaro dino ko standing committee goto no to woni self committee din non kadi ko bela parliament jodi darde din non kadi select committee sifa majjo like sengo cellanga be darde committee dara sengo cellanga ministry o kala golle kala ko sengo cellanga on committee no committee goto no to sengo dema on kadi ko agri on kadi committee no to committee goto no to ene hakkude wele taede yaasi on committee kadi no to kono sa nari FPA P fi parliament pour yimɓe holo parliament golle maɓɓe ne yara lawol gonga hooreje ɗin committee ji ɓayti ko laamu mum jooɗi sa ƴetti député maɓɓe ko nder laamu a joɗɗimo woni hooreje ɗin committee ji ɗon no wayni hay joni yimɓe sikkitoto ɓe sikke haray an on ciyaman on ye hooreje o walla laamu ngu o onno woday ko suuɗi e nder golle ɗe ko ɗum waɗi ɗin committee ji ɗiɗi opposition ji ɗi député ɓe osiɓe ko ɓen watta ɓe wonta hooreje ɗin committee ji ɗiɗi fii honno ko fuyɓe yehiɓe laaɓal e gonga no yaade nder toon so ɗum yawti o hollimane committee ji no jogii responsibility anda kala ministre ɗo no tawe e nder ɗin committee ji anda ko ɓen data luwaji maɓɓe ɗin kamɓe data kala luwa ada toon so ɓe ɗayima ko chambers ko parliament ko ɓen ɓe jonata ɓe ndaara so tawi ko sengo cellal committee o ɓe ndaara luwa mo laamu addi ko faala dattinde as luwa nda ko wayi toon ko ɗum ko nafa fof so tawi wona nafa fof on committee ɓe jogii doole pour noddugol ko hewɓe ɓe annda ɓe jogii golle maɓɓe kadi e sengol cellal ɓe lamɗoɓe wiimi laamu addi oɗo luwa ɓe faalamo wadde luwa joni ko woni ɗo hen ɓe hetto himɓe ɓen ɓen kadi ko woni golle maɓɓe ɓe ndaara ɓen kadi so tawi ɓe ɓeyda hen goɗɗum ma ɓe ɓiyta hen goɗɗum so tawi woni koɓe ɓeydi hen ɓe jonnayi ɓe ɓeyda hen so tawi woni koɓe ɗiwti hen ɗum kadi ɓe wat fof windayi so ɗum woni golle o committee so ɗum yawti kadi o wi ɗi committee goto andi ko tati o haali committee goto so tawi waɗa joni haaju waɗi ma probléme waɗi ma goɗɗum no heeɓi joni ɓe parliament darna on committee ɗon e ɗon kono on committee ɗum ɗo makko doole makko e gurdam makko fof ko fii naarugo on issue ɗon so on gasi de ko ɗon golle maɓɓe ɗen haali so ko golle ɗi sifa tati committee ji ganduɗa ko ɗin o haali ɗo so o wi parliament noon ko sengo ɗen golle ɓe woni fii anda laaɓal e feewal e konno yimɓe heɓita nafoore e goyɗi ɗon luwaji ganduɗa ko ɗin nafata yimɓe jarama
Kam da waxtu julli gol yoni kono gilan mi yahat mi wada question and answer 3 so si donga si mi yahat julli gol bontari so pare mi arat kan sa joli we mi 3 presentations so yeah just to make it short
Direct to research and library to take us through the functions of the National Assembly and the role of National Assembly members.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ngal konto ngal kento ngal jay. Na bunda menti wala muka jiwe ke National Assembly mo fa adala sembo mo ne ala non kam mo ne ali National Assembly member wala fa na do ko mo ne kan ni ko National Assembly wo mo institution de bumala dinkirala mel ka wo do ko wo dinkirala do ko ke e ka fole National Assembly members an ñir pour ya futa wo dinkirako nka kartele fay fote banko bekan adeka kartele fay sinya kini bari ni kartele fanan fayta wo kola man sakana tombon de roki so kartele fay mo talu anin sabale man sakka mo lulu fanan tombon ka kafu ñirka akeda mo talu anin say so wala mo National Assembly member ako folo la do ko mu mel nga melon jama wo muneti loi de da loi ka da jere and loi fanan ka tinya jere and loi ka sayin kan jude no jere fan ka fu mel ni amendment afulan jang is a law ila banku dingol toya meli tel tombo la constituency to is a law electoral yela intereso yitande comme il la fi pôle ila sula pôle ka yitandi député ngoto e ka fu mel ni representation anu is a mansakunda fana kisi ningo mansakunda jang wala president ni ala minister is a kontibo ye kisi ila do ko kan jamaaya men dira katun jamaaya na fo karfa itella pour ka do ko ke banko dingol toya so wodo ko ka kenyade la dibiden ka wala kis wo bela do ko ka kis ka kontibo ka no atata nyaade banko na fo dunda nyaade bari bana wo fanana e ka banko na fo fanana ka di bundala ka janjan bundal ke wati jama alkamul banko min sankari abe billion nangam le sotola min sankari abe billion nangam le sotola so wo billion abukan amanke fam comme wo billion de l'arne do ya bi ya ado kundi wala abe kadal president wala jifolo kono abiya tay nyame aya konya hani dibitel ka ko president ini la bunda mo le tela officer albe ni do kundi maybe wulta minister jaatu kende abunda adal be nyina dokula wuli mo karam bunda adal be nyina dokula so dibitel na dokuo mo te pour kayi ta bunda o bunda ite nyanta na fulo jelle dokunde an ni na fulo fanandira ebe murle kanne ne kayi ta kodenke ko serunde ngani nang ala ni nanga mo men dinna nga dokundi ten bari na ñim fanan dia ala ñim fanan fo ala kanum do ko kala dum ku kay kan mun yaati na wo manke wala akete ba so la do ko mo ya na flo di ani ya bla na flo no ma ade pan stanyade wo ko la e ka report so na ka bodam bundal bulla men ya lon ko man tere ministry ko directly me ya ko go man sa kundala londri bundala molti kabone la kunton ko ela activité sankola la e ka do ko melke ani ke wol fanan kana fulul soto nyaadi le e ka wol ko wol fanan soto wol bulla ani ka nim mansa lafta ka bunda yele me yalon ko avec la fanko soto bunda na fulo soto bunda di fasina dibite bunda ya fako lafta aliyam mako ala nyum bunda ka yele katna sudero to numa nyum bunda yele don avec la banko ye sokot bare amanda wo faranna ni mansa kunda lafta anin banko ko le teriya kaf ato keno la naman tambi dibite bungola ning ayatari misal fe dunia la bunda lebeje men ya ke ka fo international organizations wala bilateral multilateral organizations janni be comme dunia la kafol tarin janni president na la mol wala minister be teriya juludun na ene wol tema fe na dibite bungolto ya tawta wol bulla kaji ko fonsi continue no ni ñim dula kar ye kira kar ni ya teriya ka foni kara teriya ka so wo mi fana ila do ko fanandi anu wado bela ise president fana yamar no wo sembo be bu ka president yamar ka fa ko ha e suma ngani ku karla de barandella mi rot anyande kelten yamaro nak mbira nyaalo amanke forceti eniya yamaro ka tay yamare tuma bulla yame yamar sa fa bata bar niya bata fana nin kuna ta fundije namu tanam dibijel babla ha ngin foyene ko yakete imati so to dibide bungo be loru wala pour ka yamaro di wato bera president la ni atar ku finti tan banko kan me ya ko wo president do ko pour ka ko ayo tan and ya sembo fanan so pour que vote of confidence no confidence pass president la ni atata fo ya de ko president mam ala Kenya me i hati kotenki do banku dumul comme ya banku dumul ya lundi kamo men kan wo kamo man timano kotenki dibide bu me sembo so ka president bondi e ka fa men vote of no confidence hankay wo fana ni ala process la procedure la me ya ko ni be impeachment procedure na la wala wa ko fam ade kranyin ko aya fenke me ya ko asike dadi kan da ya ba asike no nyum faranti kula ta kan men dibde bu me ya ko tani na me president la karora president la bu because ala authority sembo wata bakal na de man tarje kudo bije wo sembo ka transfer no koteka ate damala so keno so misal fe sa boyta me ya ko imma ayala hakilo jahasendi wala ayala balo lam fu pour ka ko kawo action do tamandi dibide bu ya ko nyintani namete ali na nyum bondije nga carte fay mo ko te nana so ando ayata carte fay wato mansi so dibide bu sembo so pour ka ko kawo impeachment procedure da wala ahanka sa ko la fanambala me ya ko inyanda safero kala ni la fo impeachment procedure fenkela safero bina speaker yale memba ita ko mo nangam legenda ka sign membe kala almost half of comme député mo kemele beje mo talande be ba sign na ko ha president de to nyama la do mo katante nyandal ka bondi ni wo keta speaker fa be president ka mo tan ka ko ha ngani ko so de tu miro so de karola ko nyande ni ke so be chief justice wala mo bunda même martan na loi bunda abo fa kan so process la bar comme ka be tan di jando wala ni ndiko dibje mo sembo so pour que president bondi katani satola même la loi bu ko di ka fa ni constitution and this vice president fa bondi non ani minister kili wo kilo c'est bondi non wala tan wato be la anya kaje president dibje bumolo e ka vice president commandi e ka minister commandi ya fe ko yana nan sani yana jadiroke ila kola ita lesu kola wala le mire yalla men ya lon ko ya soto so anu ni ko man dilo ko don forcer lam e na ke danko ni man ne danko do woto be mo ko la landila woda même bati na ko dibitele ko man dilo ke e man na ke danko itel anu sulo ko fana nim banku do yaso dibitele ka kiskise o sulo ku jamala ka wala tin na committee soto men ka fe ko public petitions committee ni te sulo ko soto me yalon ko ife aye jahal anu banko sulo ko toro le la kan ada banko kan iso bundal petition ya samba o committee ya committee fana ba jude la amanke yewul da maron ka fa ko nyum ku kare ko committee yewul okay kare sa bero kan anu na jude hani sartol le la wo fanandala ani atre tela wo petition ayo sartol ma fadon ahankai ese kumando ke dibidel si yo ko jude kade ko nyimu sula kubadi anda banko dundi kan toro kon walla an banko fondi kan na floro walla alo kula na la kan hada dum kan me yaron ko anen ka diwe so dibidel so be keno anda ila sembo ta dal fo halfo joto la karola isi kiti kunda londino ka bonina yamaro ko do me ka fo national assembly ila act men isare ko men ko nyim bunda kare nyim kiti bunda kare nyandale kalo banko ka abol ko na magistrate ko abol ko kadi ko ani ko do ko bunda kiti bunda o bunda me yaron ko abole tuma ahanka dibjer ya semo soto ka yuta ko anyandale kalo tumando ba do recommendation o sibonan fanda ko den membe ko judicial service commission wala membe ko chief justice ko bulla bari wolta keno le ni ata amantar safere constitutional to wala any of their act of parliament nin kuku to la dron anyanta tan ben dibite ko la dibite ya approve ko kan ko akwa anu alka moy manza bunda mo kuma jamal dol fanam be pour ka wol apon pour president yol tombonno ila do ko kan ate keno la namon tambi dibite la bunda so ya jude dibitelu ya dibitelu fang because na do ko na diamo nyande tilim na bunda fulal wala mo dibite bungo la lob la monati anin dibitelu la lob la monati so dibite la lob dibite bungo la lob la ma wala itandi ka do dibite wo dibite be jang kudo be asake la fanya aya fansu lob la soto bar ko do be attaque no la afani fa jamale ya dem pour ka wo tama ado moti ka loi ni ko dibiter ka loi da dibiter kimu ka loi da dibiter jamale ka loi da anu sarto la be den wo loi da fana ka bi mun dibiter loi da wo loi ni te banko imma ay banko jama afek banko be afek wala ay banko la kara afek so woto nuwo be kala don bay banku be kuwolam woyati ko mo kilum buka keno so jamali men de kawo bar ku do be je men yalon ko pour ka wuli kalo ka yam ki adel doya adel men carte fay tele ahan kay dibite kilo so kilo ya ko ndala banko ka tumanna ibe sulare nyin la wala ndala banko ka nyaani ja ibe sulare nyin la ahan kay dibite so kilo aya kala banko to aya kala constituency to ya anu dibite fana aya hako so to aliana political party fana tem because dibite be nyum fana sabol aya hako so to ala how do you call it ala electorate media tombo aya hako so to dibite mo la karola anda hako fana so to ala patio la karola so manda ngame ra jani betala kondong la dibite do ya fa janne kaje ko niya je dol kala dibite oti ina de nim patio le toya ahanka manke dibite be data patio toya fana na dibite dol bi je wo data independent ne toya la dibite dol be je yol tombon comme nga fa nyame president yol tombon pour que kije bare ni adre na de nim patio toya la ahanka sometimes wato dol patio la ku decision dol kana patio sa ko no hani ni nyingete don nyimante la patio fego anu nale carte fay pour ka so mal don akamunte nyimante la patio fego so wato do wol ka soka
ni ngaro soto dum yer mo min fu dibite la do ko to ali dibite bu fala be do soto ni ali men moy mo mo ni ngaro ke no sake